Boom shakalaka. What's going on, you guys?
Hey man, how's it going? Thanks for having me on again.
Hey, no, for sure, dude. What's up, Clancy? What's going on?
Oh, not much, man. Yeah, it's been I guess the last like week or whatever here we had a bit of a dip, but I can go through kind of a couple things to make people feel a little better. I think now that the prices have kind of started to go up, I think most people are feeling better, but it's amazing kind of how the momentum and the emotions of like the collective space shift in such a short period of time, right?
Right.
From bear to bull and from bull to bear. It's just like,
It
yeah.
it has to do with leverage in my brain. I mean, it's just like the people. I mean, obviously, if you have a lot of token and it goes up a couple like a significant amount, it is a good amount of money. But I think a lot of the reasons why people like it's because the thought leaders, or at least the head traders that are on Twitter, are the ones that really are pushing the narrative. So that when they start memeing away and stuff, it's probably because they've lost a lot of money, or people they know have lost a ton of money. You know.
Oh, for sure, man. Like there's definitely certain, it depends who you follow, right? Like you got to be really careful what YouTube channels you follow, what Twitter, people you follow, because their sentiment is going to affect your sentiment, right?
Right.
So like I'm very selective on who I follow. There's only a few guys on Twitter that I really trust, and they're all guys that actually look at on-chain analytics. And basically, they're kind of the guys that have been around the longest and follow the data. And on YouTube, I mean, there's not many guys I follow, but the guys I do follow are level-headed. Like I follow your guys' channel. If you guys look freaked out, if Moon Gang is like everyone just looks like deer in the headlights one week, then I'll be more nervous. But you
Yeah.
guys are laughing and having a good time, and like I do my own research, so I know that this dip was nothing. So it was actually very healthy for the overall ecosystem of crypto.
Perfect. The rumor has it Mark Cuban is going on Ellen to talk about Doge.
Yeah, this Doge stuff, man. Like, I wish it would just stop. It's such a distraction from quality projects, but it just shows you the power of like collective. It's a gauge for retail, I guess, but
Yeah.
it's just a little bit. I don't know. For me, I'm not a big fan of it. I just wish it would kind of
Still,
just.
it's still a quarter.
Yeah, man. It's held pretty well. So I mean, and that's the
Oh
thing.
yeah.
It's like conviction, right? So
Yeah.
it's conviction in the meme narrative and whatever, right? Like it's doing its own thing, but
Well,
yeah.
every fucking day that I look, it's for the last 3 days, 4 days. Every day I look, like the Uniswap price has just been going higher. Look at this right here. It's just been going higher and higher and higher, man. This
Yeah,
upgrade,
Uni, you definitely called that one pretty well. So when does V3 launch for Uni?
May 5th, Cinco de Mayo.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's only 2 weeks out then.
2 weeks
Yeah.
out. This thing has probably got anywhere from a 2 to 3 banger in it, pretty much within May. So this thing is probably going $80 to $120 in May.
Well, I was listening to a podcast and they were saying that CoinSquare is now like a top 10 like global exchange, like including everything. Like CoinSquare is global top 10, right?
Right.
And Uni's doing as much volume as CoinSquare, I believe, or as close to. So like Uni is essentially like, I mean, their token is connected to a legitimate exchange that has volume that's like the top 10 global volume exchange. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's just, it's obviously like its overhead compared to Coinbase is very, very low, right? The amount
Right.
of people and the amount of like it's a whole different thing. But yeah, man, I can see the value with Uni for sure. And
So
this V3 will be interesting.
so watch this right here. So you see this TVL. This TVL, once V3 launches, give it a week or so, this TVL is probably going to go to 0.9 or 0.5, because what's going to happen is there way more liquidity and money is going to jump onto Uniswap, because it just became the biggest casino for liquidity pool miners in the world. And there's ways to min-max your gains on this platform up to 1000x off the regular return. So it's like there is going to be a lot of money. This token's going to, from my calculations, so this is pretty rough napkin math here. We're talking 5 to 7 times more income for the token off of all the shenanigans that's going on. So this TVL is just like it's basically money locked in. It's not really based off of the ratio, but there's going to be more and more money locked up on this, and eventually this is going to go down, and then what's going to happen is the price is going to shoot up to then bring it back to equilibrium. So at a certain point, this TVL is going to go to like 5, probably, or 3 or 4. So it's going to go overvalued pretty soon. So it's a magical world, you know, with this thing. And I'm very bullish on Uniswap. I mean, I'm very, very bullish on Uniswap. Like end of year, this thing's $300+ for sure.
And what's primarily driving up the price? Like I haven't looked into Uni a ton. So with Uniswap, like I'm just noticing, because we talked about this before, and I think I like an old podcast like a year ago. The reason why some of these coins scare me is the circulating supply versus the max supply, because it's still only like 20% of the total coins are in circulation. But obviously that hasn't mattered, because, and I guess in a lot of ways I was wrong about that, because I was talking about Solana and Uni and some of these coins, like, you know, the low circulating supply, but they've moved, like, you know, Solana and all these coins have gone up. So I don't know if
I can tell you why. I can tell you why.
Like how does that work? Like,
okay, there's a political reason which very few people talk about, and it's very small now. But I'll tell you what's going on with at least this. So you always have to remember who's actually physically buying these assets, right? And the people who are buying these assets are humans, and humans are tribalistic. And that's never going to change ever. So basically the dumb and smart money always bets on jockeys, basically. And with like something like a Solana, you have Sad Friedman. Basically, we like figureheads, and we like kings and czars, or whatever the hell you want to call them, or presidents. You know, we essentially like a strong man. We like someone being in charge, or like a man leading the charge on a project. So with Uniswap, you have Hayden Adams, right? The dude's pretty smart, he's a good dude. You know, he's got that crazy, like, you know, losing his hair sort of like, you know, developer dude kind of vibe, and everything. Seems like a cool dude. He's working all the time. He ships his stuff in, like his stuff's on time. That's why he's at where he's at right now, basically. With where like a Sad Friedman, right? Dude has a multi-billion-dollar business built off of trading with FTX, then has the FTX token, then from there creates Solana, then Solana's good, then from there the Solana ecosystem then creates Serum, which is going to be a competitor to Uniswap in the future. And it's just, if you just look at track record, right, like, all right, Uniswap, this guy pretty much really popularized, even though it was really like Bancor. It was really Bancor who created the first like AMMs and stuff, the dexes, but they were pretty dog shit. Then he created the first real usable one. It was really cool. It was awesome. It was cheap at the time because Uniswap was really low. And then basically he proof of concept, and his thing works. So it popularized the whole thing, right? Then from there with Sam Friedman, right? He essentially was this cycle's version of CZ. So this is our version of a Binance. The other thing too is like what people like kind of discount is that people around the world really like it when somebody's kind of like can speak English really well. That's really fucked, but it's true. I don't know. It's that whole thing. So it's like we even though we don't read a book by its cover, we read a book by its cover always.
Yeah, I mean the figurehead is extremely important for sure, right? And like that's the thing about CEL token is obviously the figurehead is very good. But yeah, no, I haven't looked into enough of these projects. Like I've been so hyper focused on you know, basically the market cycles and CEL token. But yeah, man, there's a lot of good projects, and there's a lot of reasons why these projects will do well. And the figurehead does matter, and it's nice to be in a project where you know that your project has like a legitimate person promoting it, who people respect, and who's it's a big deal, and it does make a difference for sure.
I mean, look at this, Vitalik. You know, we got Vitalik, CZ. What do we got? We got Charles Hopkinson. We got Elon.
Yeah, Elon pretty much now. Yeah.
Hayden Adams. We got what's this? Oh my god, I'm spacing on the name.
Yeah, Jesus, me too. Can't think of his name right now either, but I know. Anyways, yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about here. Yeah, guy who wrote Solidity and stuff and all that jazz. Charlie Lee, Roger Ver. I don't know. Oh no. What's his name?
Yeah, he's. I can't think of his. I don't know. I'm not good with names, anyways. But
Sergey.
Yeah, for sure.
J.P. Morgan.
Yeah.
Ew. Sam. That's IBM, the bank. Theta Network. That's Google. Yeah. That's Google. All right. Filecoin. That's just a bunch of rich people's money. Tron. Just Wrap Bitcoin. I think this is Rand or something like that. Monero, right? Fluffy Pony. I mean, dude, you look literally like I can go down the list and I'm just naming people. I'm not even naming projects.
For sure.
Really. Tierra. I mean, this is actually the one I need to do some research on instead of Clayton. Clayton's actually like
some of these have come
company
out of nowhere recently, right? It's kind of funny to see because you have like such a blend right now. You have the projects that were like the darlings in the 2017 bull run that are still hanging around, right? And then you have like the ones that have done well over the last year, and then you have this like new breed of ones that like only came a few months ago. So it's like we have like this three kind of like timeline. Everything's kind of all obviously like at the same time. Everything's kind of coinciding here, but it's just cool to see like kind of like the old versus the new, and just see what ends up winning out here, because it's a bit of a blend right now.
This one's going to be a big token, but the thing is just like I just don't want to spend the time to like really get to know this one too much. But basically, this is a big South Korea play, Clayton. It's a big conglomerate company that owns like all the social media networks. So they're trying to. This is supposedly like what, I would say, Facebook's Libra was trying to be a little bit.
Oh, okay. We're gonna see more and more of that, right? We're gonna see more and more like geographical, like specific coins that are being pushed by like countries or by specific like geographical locations.
China?
Yeah. That one is Neo is old school that's from 2017.
Yeah.
EOS is just like somehow hanging around. They're not even hanging around really. Like they're just
Dude, it's $5. That I was selling out in the bear market at that price, bruh.
The highest EOS ever got was sixth rank. So like they're down significantly because they've obviously lost a massive amount to Bitcoin and ETH and all the top projects, because they were sixth at the absolute best of 2017 at their peak. I remember when they were sixth. I thought they could get to 3. I was definitely wrong.
PancakeSwap starting Cosmos. I actually don't know who leads Cosmos, but it's a great project. It is actually a good. This is more of a interoperability kind of background play. So it's more of like just running this. It helps run networks in the background. So it's a very good project. So Cosmos is going to be here for at least 2 cycles. So it's a very good project. PancakeSwap's amazing as well. It's starting to get better. I was really pissed off with it because a lot of the tokens on PancakeSwap are just total horse shit. It's all derivatives, which is fine. It's just I would like to know that it's a derivatives exchange basically. But now they're starting to come out with more and more of their own tokens. So the Binance Smart Chain starting to come up with their own like pump and dump tokens and sort of like their versions of everything. So the PancakeSwap's starting to become a little more useful in terms of that.
That was funny what you said on Moon Gang. I think it was on Sunday. You said like how, because you guys were going through each of the platforms and you were saying how they all have their starter kit. Like you were saying, that's a great analogy, man. Because you were saying like how each of these ecosystems and each of these platform plays, they kind of like see what ETH does and they create their version of it, right? Like their starter pack or whatever you called it is kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean it's like yeah, it's really funny. So it's like if we were to do like a starter pack, right? Let's do the Binance starter pack, right? So like they're all copying Ethereum, right? So it's like Binance starter pack. Okay, I'm gonna make my own Ethereum Binance coin. Cool. Ethereum has Uniswap. Shit. Then we make PancakeSwap. Yeah, now I got PancakeSwap. And then what ends up happening is then Ethereum is like, okay, I've got my lending platform. I got my Aave. He's like, Binance is like, yeah, I have Venus too. And then like, oh, I have my Synthetics network. Well, my Venus is both of them combined. And it's like basically they all come out like basically every platform has to like come out with like, okay, I need my layer 1 token, I need my DEX, I need my derivatives exchange, and I need my lending platform. Then from there we can create other other random tokens. Most of these platforms really don't even bother making what do you call it? Like a chain link sort of thing, an Oracle system and stuff, because it's just so hard, as well as people won't trust it. So
but Binance made band token was a version of Chainlink, right?
Right, but it's so trash. It's so bad. Like
Chainlink is still the leader in the Oracle space, right?
It's too much though.
But Band is Binance's version. But Band was actually top 80 at one point, but they've dropped off significantly. But there's certain things that like. It's interesting to see, like you said, the starter pack for each of these ecosystems, but some of them don't even bother with certain things if it's too hard. Like they'll copy whatever's easiest, but they kind of avoid like some of the things if it's too difficult to copy, right? Like if it involves too much, but
that's pretty cool. I'll look into Terra. I mean, that's another ecosystem play too. I do note the one thing I did look into Terra is that the Terra people and the Mirror people hate Rune chain, or which is another actually a sneaky play that actually Binance is doing. Like, let me see, Rune. And there's people that'll say no, it's not true, this and this, but yeah, it is. This thing is totally financed in the background by Binance Chain, except they left it on RC20 token, but it's supposed to be like a bridge, and they do have the first DEX that actually you can trade like Bitcoin to Litecoin into something else through their pools, and that's why this token's gone up so fucking much.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot, eh? So what exactly is this? Is this chain token? What do they do?
Just look at that. Shoo.
Yeah, that looks like a lot of graphs. That looks like a lot of altcoin graphs. Yeah, the ones that have done well. Yeah, that's a 1,200%. That's good.
Up from a year ago, up 121x.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful. But basically what it does, you take the token. This was like a better, they took tokenomics from a lot of other players, but basically they took so there's like Bancor and what's the other one? There's just so many tokens, dude. I swear my brain's like sometimes like Jesus.
It's really hard now to keep track of everything, man. You definitely have to outsource your research, because there's only so much time in a day, especially if you're part-time in crypto, like myself. Like, I definitely outsource my research, and like I'm only invested in 2 things, but just to keep like, you know, kind of a general pulse on all these projects and kind of like stay in the loop. I obviously watch your guys' information to
Zero X and Bancor, but basically they have this, like, Bancor has a system of like of AMM where they're trying to solve for impermanent loss, and they have their token, so you can stake your tokens with only 1 token. So you typically with a liquidity pool, you have to have 2 tokens on both sides. You can pretty much just be on one side of it. Well, with Rune, right? But because of that whole system and the way they provide liquidity, it kind of makes the token kind of worthless, basically. But with Rune, right, they made sure that every time in every pool you have to have Rune to be in the pool and stuff. So it makes a really great incentive to actually have the token, and that's one of the reasons why why the price keeps going up so much on Rune and stuff as well, because you have to have Rune for the pools for Thorchain. And a lot of these founders, a lot of these people forgot that shit is like, why you have a token, you have to make it appreciate in price, so you have to create demand for it. Like it's fucking like, but I understand what they're trying to do. Like, these guys are scientists, and these, like, is it like Bancor, if I remember right, Bancor's probably received about $250 million fucking dollars of Ethereum. It got smashed.
Yeah, they were one of the largest. They were one of the largest raises in the 2017 bull run. As far as I remember, it was definitely over $100 million, right? And they were actually connected to the EOS ecosystem, which I mean, they raised a ton of money, right? So, but yeah, like you said, it's all about the token economics. At the end of the day, like, how is the token? Like, how is it integrated into that project and into that ecosystem, and how is it going to actually appreciate in value? Like, what's the reason why someone's going to hold it? Like, you know, so that's everything, right? That's the whole thing about investing. Like, I mean, it's not the whole thing, obviously, because you have coins like Dogecoin that just go up. At the end of the day, if people hold it, it's going to go up. But yeah, long-term value, you got to have a token economics built into that token. So
right, for
sure. But
no, it's real beautiful. It's real beautiful and stuff. But yeah, you gotta have the thing, and then also demand as well. Just to go back to finish up the Uniswap, there's gonna be more demand for the token, and as well as, like, I think later on in like second half of May, they're going to start opening up the liquidity pools for L2, for providing liquidity on L2, and there probably is going to be more Uniswap token that's going to be received from those from having money pooled in there. So there's going to be a huge amount of AUM that's going to go into Uniswap, and probably purchasing of tokens and stuff. So the token overall is going to get a lot better for Uni, I think. But yeah, there's the market's doing pretty good. I'm glad to see a lot of these. One thing I'm proud, because from like 2017, a lot of these projects aren't really bullshit. Like, there's actually good projects. Like,
it's way better, man. Like, it's so much better than 2017 run. Yeah. Like, the amount of actual quality now, like, it's definitely, the space has. I mean, it's been 4 years, right? So like, there's been definitely some actual development, and now you can say, like, I don't know how many projects like you could actually say were legitimate in 2017, but it didn't seem like there was that many, like maybe 10. Like, now we probably have like a good 50, like, at least, that are legit, maybe even 75. Like, and that's just my just throwing out a number, but like, there's a good amount that are actually legit projects now. Like, probably, I don't know how many you would say, but like, ones that are investable.
There's quite a few. I mean, eventually I'm going to make an ETF token or something with the. I'm going to have a suite of products that I'm going to create for people to invest into passively and
the Moon Gang Index would be.
Yeah, the index and stuff and everything. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. The Moon Index or whatever you guys call it, right? Like it would be. I bet you'd have a ton of people that'd be interested because as your audience grows and your guys evolve with everything. Because I mean, just a simple thing, right? And even if you were you could even actively manage it too, right? You could have one that's like. Yeah, you probably actively manage it because things change so much. Like you wouldn't want to just, and some of these indexes that are going to come out, because we're going to see this happen very soon, where you have it's kind of like the S&P. You have a top 10, a top 50, a top 100, or whatever of crypto. And the problem with that is there's a lot of nonsense that's going to be in those indexes, right? Like EOS is going to be in there, and a lot of these other garbage projects.
Not in mine.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather have someone that
way.
Yeah, I'd rather be if I was going to do an index or invest in an index, I'd rather have one that's actively managed with a team of people that are handpicking the absolute best ones. Because just because something's in the top 10 or top 50 doesn't mean it's good. Obviously, there's a lot of like garbage. Right. So, but like a handpicked like index is definitely something that, especially if it's actively managed, that would be very interesting to. As a vehicle for investing, especially for newbies, like to be able to be like, oh wow, okay, I don't know what the regulations like on that or how that would work, but if you guys can figure that out, like that's definitely something that would have legs, I believe.
I'm definitely going to try to do something like this, but I've seen a lot of index token because like you can't have an ETF token technically, but it's an index token. It's kind of like an ETF token, just a shittier version of it, but you just got to make do with what you have.
Isn't there a DEX index right now? Isn't there a DEX like token index?
There's DeFi Pulse index and stuff, but it's not available in a lot of places, and like they don't advertise. They're barely trying to advertise it, but I don't really like the DeFi Pulse index is amazing. Let me see. Was it?
Because what they did is what they did with that is I don't know much about it, but my understanding is they took like some of the premier DeFi projects and made an index out of it, right?
Yeah, they just took. But the problem that I've had with that token is that it's only the DeFi on Ethereum, and that website is very maximalist actually for that sort of stuff. So at first when that index really came out and we were really talking about it back in like Q4 of last year or Q1, it was like there was DeFi in other places, but it was pretty small. But it became apparent to me around like maybe let's say February, where like, wow, there's a lot of other DeFi somewhere else, and what's gonna happen eventually is like I was looking on there and like they weren't adding things, and also they were excluding stuff. So I think it was kind of the wrong thing. That basically they were trying to create an index where they were only promoting their friends sort of stuff and everything, because everyone was kind of in a gang there. So there's a lot of Ethereum maximalism as well, because Ethereum is not going to be the only ecosystem to win out and stuff. And like I know some Ethereum people hold their chest and shit in the air and be like, no, what? How dare you say that? But it just kind of is what it is. If you look at this, right, PancakeSwap's not in there. I mean, of course, Aave and Maker and Dai. Like, these are great. Most great DeFi projects are Ethereum, but there should be an allocation to Solana or some other stuff like that, or the other ecosystem plays, or the Mir, or one of those tokens once they come out, and just to be added onto the index and stuff for fairness, because that's the sort of thing, because you just want to be fair to that sort of stuff, and obviously, right. And the other thing too is like what I noticed with a lot of other index coins and stuff is that they have the top 10 coin, they have the top 20, and they still have fucking Tether in there. So it's like basically they have a dollar. They have a dollar allocation.
That's a little bit odd, but I guess it's like a hedge or something. But it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like
you
don't want to be invest. Yeah, you want to invest in crypto. Like obviously, if someone wants to have like their own allocation to dollars, they can do that. They don't need to have an index with dollars included. So that's a little bit odd. But no, man, there's something there for sure. Like it's something that will come to the space. Like there'll be many versions of it, and like if you guys can kind of hone in on, because a lot of these big companies are going to be ultra conservative with what they do, right? They're only going to include the absolute like ones that are like the most guaranteed, and they're not going to be on the bleeding edge of like which ones are actually going to moon next, like you guys. So I think there's something for sure there, definitely.
This token's pretty good. I mean, DeFi Pulse Index. I mean, this is. I mean, it's not total shit. Like I'm saying, the projects in here are amazing, but I'm just saying they're excluding other ecosystems. That's the part that sucks about it.
Yeah, you got to be. I think you got to be like, yeah, you got to be open to all the different ecosystems, because there's going to be a handful of projects in every ecosystem that's going to be legit. So yeah, you don't want to be. You want to be kind of agnostic when it comes to like whatever value. And that's what I like about Celsius, right? Is Celsius right now, like Celsius is so well positioned, and they're not dependent on any specific ecosystem. Like they're going to add whatever best and leading projects, innovative projects are going to be on Celsius, right? Like you've talked about. So it's they're going to be adding actually Cardano's finally coming to the app, and they're actually adding BNB to the app here in the next few months.
Within the next month, from what I saw.
Yeah, it should be pretty quick, right?
It's going to be Binance token first, then Cardano.
Yeah, and some of the interest rates I think that Celsius can offer is going to be very competitive. Like I know that Alex has said, and the team has said that, you know, they're just going to look at every possible way to create interest, and you know they're able to. They're so flexible in what they can do, and so they're an aggregator, so they're going to be able to find the best ways of generating interest. And so like even better than staking, like it's not necessarily like all the time for every token, but I do believe that they're going to at least match what people can get elsewhere, and it's just so much easier than setting up a node or whatever you have to do to stake on some of these networks. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but I think it's going to be, once they have all the top projects, like it'll be kind of cool to see like how much of each token ends up percentage-wise ends up on the CEL platform, right? Like we talked about. So
quite a lot. I mean, I'm still bullish. I'm still very, very, very bullish on Celsius and stuff. I mean, it's just a little. Wow, this thing is. I hate using this one. This one looks like shit.
What are you using there?
Oh, it's just the little Celsius. I mean, the thing for Nomics. I don't like how they do their chart here.
Oh, Nomics, yeah, Nomics.
Yeah, but it's still pretty. You know, it's still pretty good. It's whatever. But anyway, yeah, number go up. I mean, this is what I'd like to see. Like, whoa. But yeah. Yeah,
man. There was I don't know if you saw it already, but there was a really good video for anyone that's watching this or watching this in the future. Like, for anyone new to Celsius, I mean, definitely watch all your guys' content. You guys have talked about Celsius quite a bit. You know, we've done the streams, like we did that 24-hour stream on CEL Token at New Year's. I'm really looking forward to doing the next one with you. Next time, you know, when Celsius hits $10, we're going to do another 24-hour stream, and we're going to have a lot more guys on this time, and a lot of really smart guys in the community are going to join us. But anyone that's new to Celsius, there's a really good video that came out just this last few days here from Trillions Media on YouTube. Right. Yeah, you can go check him out. He's a really cool guy, and he's put a lot of time and effort into his research, and you know, he's got a very he's got a really good background in finance, and he's a legit guy. So all his stuff is solid, and it's about a 30-minute video, and it's a lot of the stuff, you know, you've talked about as well, but it's it's worth watching. It's highly recommended. I think everyone that is interested in Celsius or kind of the potential of what it can be, it's a great video to watch.
No, definitely. I mean, it's a lot of the information that we've been saying sort of off the dome, but it's good to see like an actual like kind of like a PowerPoint or some sort of physical sort of representation of it, as well as someone else expanding on it, because everyone's opinion is kind of important, sort of, because everyone has different data points in their brain, so we could all look at the same data and pull something different from it, which is good.
Totally, man. Like, and the more people you hear it from, and the more people that come to the same conclusion, the more confident you can be in your investment, right? Like, we're just two guys here, and we've done a lot of research, but there's a lot of other guys in the Celsius community that have put in a lot of time. Like, obviously, I'm not sure if anyone, if you're new, you might not know him, but if anyone's in the Celsius community, you probably heard of him. But yeah, Joshua, he was on your stream, I think, recently, and he's put together. He's got a background in actually data science, and he's a very smart guy, and he's put in a lot of time, and he has a lot of data, like just solid data. Like, he's done all the graphs, and he can back it all up. So when you have people like that in your community, it just makes your investment so much easier to be confident. And when you have so many smart guys, like the whole Celsius community right now, like I've noticed over the last few months, some of the guys coming in, it's it's attracting a lot of mind share to the Celsius community, and that it's just gonna be so cool to see. And there's OGs like Kevin, right? Like Kevin's community calls, like, oh my goodness, like the last community call we had was insane. Like it was so good. Like we went for a few hours. Alex came in for a good amount of time. Kevin was just on point with his questions, and he just nailed it. Like he like Alex just like, I don't know what happened, but Alex gave a lot of really a lot of information that we had been speculating on, but we hadn't necessarily heard from him directly. Right. And it was just amazing to hear him. And there was a lot of people in there, that it was the who's who of the community in there, and it was a great call. So anytime, like anyone that's interested in Celsius or already in the community, like anytime Kevin does a community call, like you got to get in that. Like it's just such a unique opportunity to be able to sit, like have the, like it's crazy, man. Like it's so crazy to be able to talk to the CEO and ask direct questions. Like you do not get that. Like it's $1 billion company. Like right. What private company that's a unicorn can you sit down with the CEO and actually ask questions? Like it doesn't exist. Like Alex Mashinsky is the Elon Musk of finance, of fintech. Like he's got 3 unicorns and he's got like 8 or 9 startups. Like he's the Elon Musk of fintech. And we get a chance to talk to him every Tuesday. Josh, another guy in the community, and also Zach. They run the what do you call it? The treehouse or clubhouse, not treehouse, clubhouse app or whatever every Tuesday. And Alex comes in there, like there's like 100 people in there, and he's in there for like an hour or two. So it's just the access we have to someone like of his caliber is just unmatched in crypto. Like you just don't see that.
Yeah, definitely. And like that's also what I've noticed with projects that where the founder's that active. It does well magically, right? So I mean, a lot of founders from a lot of other coins, they don't do enough interviews, and that's one of the reasons why their token does shit, basically, because it's like you sort of have to hypnotize and sort of talk to everybody, and then for them to know that you're not rugging.
Yeah, I mean, you said that. I remember listening. I remember a lot of your guys' interviews, like before I knew you and Wasabi. I remember you saying, and it was brilliant the way you said it. This was like a year ago, and I remember on your podcast, you said that Alex has the hypnotic effect.
Yep.
Yeah, like and he totally does, because I've listened to so much of his content, and he definitely has, like the way he speaks. He's very charismatic, and he has a very he's done so many interviews, man. Like the amount of interviews he's done, I don't know if there's anyone in crypto that's done more interviews than Alex Mashinsky. Like you go on YouTube, it's just ridiculous how many interviews he's done, and the amount of content he's put out for the community. I don't think there's anyone. Like I know there's guys that, like I think CZ does like a monthly AMA. There's Vitalik's done interviews, but like the amount of interviews Alex has done, like every single Friday he does the AMA, and then on top of that he puts out like 3 or 4 interviews every single week, and it's crazy. So like he definitely has, like you said, the hypnotic effect that if you listen to him enough, it rings true what he's saying, and over time, like you just get basically whatever you call it, like you just buy into what he's saying. Like it's just you're part of the cult, and in a good way. So yeah, that's what you want. You want a guy like that that has that, and I would say that's like a very rare thing that most people, like a lot of people you listen to and you get sick of them after a while. Like you don't get sick of Alex. He's funny and he's interesting, and he's got a lot of good stuff to say. So
definitely. I mean, Charles Hopkins sort of had the same thing, except he's like eventually I got tired of listening with like Charles, but that's one of the reasons why that coin didn't die. Literally, there's a lot of other coins. Like let's just say if Neo was doing like a fucking like weekly AMA where hey dudes, you guys were, even if it was doing it in broken English, he was like, hey you guys, we're here developing stuff and the fucking token would have been like 12x, 15x from the price it is now. It would have done very well in the bear market. But
there's so much money at stake here too, right? So like, how do these projects how are they not more transparent? Like I think a lot of it comes down to most of these projects, they don't have anything they can talk about every single week. Like they haven't done enough to actually, like Celsius, the thing about Celsius is like every week, or at least every 2 weeks, there's something new to talk about, because they're actually innovating. They have a team of almost 300 people that's working for them, that's actually innovating, and there's a lot coming to the app and coming to the ecosystem. Whereas most of these projects, they're not really doing a whole lot. Like the price might go up at times, But
Right.
like, if they have to be accountable every week to say like what they're working on, there wouldn't be anything to talk about. It'd probably hurt the investment.
Right, right. I mean, like honestly, let's look. Let me look down the thing. Let's just say I was a leader of a coin, and let's pick a bad coin, like Tron. Let's just say I was the leader of Tron, right? He actually does do a lot of stuff, so that's why it's this high up. So maybe that's not the best thing, but it could have been done better. But let's see another random token, like, Safe Moon.
What's the deal with Safe Moon? I've heard you talk about it.
It's a fucking Ponzi, bro.
It's a total Ponzi. Okay, well,
Yeah,
at least if you know it's a Ponzi, you can decide what you want to do about it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, but it's
basically aiming at these tokens. It doesn't matter what it does, basically. And then like Nexo, right? Let's just say this is terrible, but like let's say I was the head of Nexo, right? I would just be doing streams and stuff like, hey, you guys, this and this and this, or make the whole Nexo thing about partying in the background, something fun. And even though they're doing all the shitty shit, if they're doing something fun all the time on stream, that fucking token would be fantastic in terms of price because everyone would be aping it all the time.
Potentially, man. It's not easy to do, right? It's not easy to have like somebody that can speak for 1 to 2 hours every week and be engaging. I just don't think a lot of people have that personality to do it.
Right.
And it would and also they're careful. They would be a lot of these projects would be so careful on what they're actually able to say because they're accountable. Like if you legally, as far as what Alex has said, anyways, like you can't make stuff up on these streams when you're a public figure. Like if you say stuff that's not and ends up being true, like you can actually get in significant legal trouble. So I think a lot of these guys, like they'd be so like I've listened to some interviews with BlockFi and like they're just so like they just won't like Zach doesn't really say anything. Like he gives these canned responses because his lawyers have probably told him like, yeah, you can't say a whole lot of stuff. So Alex is a little bit more just open with what he said. He's cavalier, right? Like and he's got a team of lawyers that can hold him accountable if he's getting a bit too crazy. But he also knows like how to. He's a marketing guy too. Like you have to.
Oh, here's a perfect one. 0x. Great product. No fucking marketing at all. It's zero. Like I don't hear nothing. Like there might be one interview a year.
A lot of these projects, man, like I forget they exist. Like there's so many projects. Like I remember OX just because of 2017. I remember it was which we're trying to be the main decentralized exchange or was one of the players. But a lot of these projects, like it's funny when you scroll through CoinMarketCap, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that one or I remember that one. Like it just kind of reminisce on it, but you don't hear much about it. Like there's so many projects you just don't. There's no headlines. There's just nothing significant that is being pushed.
I would be doing shenanigans. Like I'd be saying like, yo, baby, you want to take the 0 or are you going to be my ex? Like, we're just saying stupid shit like that. Just dumb stuff like that, or just giveaways and stuff. And there's ways.
Do something. Like, a lot of these projects, man, they have so much money. That's the thing.
Yeah.
How have you not done more marketing when you have so much money?
They're greedy. Like they're greedy fucks. They're greedy fucks at stealing the money. That's
they don't.
I'm not saying this about 0x, but I'm saying in general, a lot of projects too, they could do it, except what they're doing is a controlled rug. They're slowly
rugging. Is a lot. To be honest, a lot of these projects that have raised a significant amount of money, they're just slowly rugging, or at least they're just like have this facade that they have a token, but really their investments are elsewhere. And obviously, I've talked about EOS about like how they're the best example of that. But like, man, EOS like they have so much money. So why hasn't EOS, right?
Here we go.
If they have like whatever $4 or $5 billion, well, it's more than that now because they invested in Bitcoin and they got like $20-30 million. How have they not put at least $100 million into advertising? Like, how is EOS not all over the place? Like, why didn't EOS buy CoinMarketCap? They could have. They could have.
That was a great idea. They should have.
Why didn't they?
Because they're pussies. That's why.
There's so many things they can do. When you have that kind of money, you can be all like they're nowhere. Like they're just because they don't want to put any money into it because they know it's a sinkhole. They know that any money that goes into EOS is a bad investment for block one. The best thing they can do is hold Bitcoin and do whatever other projects they're doing. I'm sure they have other investments in other projects. I bet you they put more money into equity rounds. We don't even hear about it because they're a private company. Mm-hmm. I bet you they put more money of their war chest into other plays in the ecosystem, and probably some of them are even competitive to EOS because EOS doesn't have a community. So, anyways, man. But Yeah, I want to show you. We don't have to do it now, but at some point, I want to show you a couple.
Yeah, we'll definitely
cool things here about the market cycle stuff.
Let's go into it. Let me just. I actually want to go on the website. I want to see what the fuck's on their website. I don't even know.
Well, they were the thing about EOS is their main app that they were working on, and they have a team of like I know for a fact because I was holding it for such a long time, and I looked into the project. They have a team of over 500 actual people. Like they have a huge team of people, but I don't know what they're doing. Like they have a voice. It's called Voice. They bought the domain Voice, right?
Right.
It's an app. It's supposed to be a social media app. You have to give full KYC, but it's basically a social media app. The idea with Voice is that there's no bots on there because it's all full KYC. And so they're trying to compete with like whatever the top social media companies, but good luck, man. Like the network effects with all these top social media companies. And now you require full KYC. Like good luck onboarding people. Right. And then, and it's just nowhere. Like I haven't heard about it. They put $30 million into the domain, but like how much money they put to advertising Voice, like I've never heard of it. Like it's nowhere. I set up an account and I completely forgot about it. Yeah. So like it's just they're garbage. I'm really thankful for EOS because it really was my my learning curve in crypto of what to avoid, and like now I can spot it a mile away because of them. So right. It was so great that I got in them. I wouldn't change a thing, but man, you gotta really like. You got to see red flags, and a lot of people they can't. Once they get sucked into a project, their blinders are on, and the project can't do wrong. And especially when you're underwater, once you get underwater, you start to defend your product, your investment even more, because you're so in at that point that you need to convince yourself that they're going to recover. But the reality is, if you're in a project and it's down massively, and there's like no signs that it's going to reverse, you got to cut your losses at some point. And like I cut my losses at 50%. And it was the absolute best thing I could have done. Like the amount of money and the amount of recovery I made because I got into Bitcoin at the bottom of the crash in March of last year. I got in at pretty much almost the bottom of Bitcoin, and then also getting a CEL token so early. Like you can reverse things around, and so just be for anyone listening, like just. You know, if you have a reason that if you got in at like the top of a good project, say you bought SNX or something actually legit, and you got it on a pump, like something like that, you can hold it because it actually is going to come back at some point. But just if you bought Doge at the peak, like Jesus, like just or whatever project don't need to pick on Doge, like whatever product is actually not delivering value, and if you buy it at a peak, like. At some point, you got to just say like, I got it into a bad project, and I need to get out of this and get in some legit quality, and I can make my gains back. Like the crypto will forgive you if you get in legit projects.
No, it definitely can, and there's this whole thing too with you just don't want to be in a project that goes to zero. That's it. So as long as you have some capital, you can work your way. Even if you had, let's just say you got wrecked, you got rinsed, 80% losses, you could take that 20% and fucking over 6 months, you could 4x. And get it back. You can crawl. You can get yourself out of the hole. But if you get into a project that just fucking goes to zero, man, shoo, whoo, that's bad. That's bad. That's when you get hurt. That's when you fucking get hurt. The thing is like the absolute worst thing is getting into a rug. Total. That's total capital loss. There's no recovery.
No, and especially if you go in heavy, like if you only have a few investments and you go in heavy on one, like that's the thing, right? Like so, we know which projects there's no risk of rug pulling, right? And those are the ones that you got to be like it's all about your risk adjusted return and. Just being in a project that has like zero chance of being a rug, like obviously Bitcoin, Ethereum, there's no rug possibility. CEL token, there's no rug possibility, and there's a lot of other projects that there's no rug possibility. But if you're in something that has a low market cap, that's all of a sudden on the scene out of nowhere, that no one knows the founder or the team is anonymous or it's got a weird something going on with the token that seems like short-sighted. You got to question and you got to go in, like you got to tiptoe into it. At least I believe. Like I mean, that's my theory. Some people are able to just. Some people like to gamble at the end of the day, and some people will risk a rug, I guess. But Oh, cultivate. Oh, nice. Charlie's. Was Charlie's here?
I don't know something.
Yeah, man.
May blockchain Jesus forgive all our sins. I have. But hey, you want to start showing the
for sure, man. Yeah, definitely. Really cool. So initially, like what I want to talk about quickly is just like this recent dip we had. So there's a bunch of guys I follow on Twitter that are full-time researchers into like Glassnode and all the indicators to do with like what's going on in the actual Bitcoin on-chain metrics. And so when you follow those kinds of people, you get a whole different perspective, right? You're not sucked into the basically emotions of these swings. Yeah. So essentially. What happened recently, I'll just show you a couple of really quick things. I'll do a screen share here. So if I just click this, okay. Can you see my screen now? Okay, cool.
I can see it. I'm gonna add it now. Yep. There you go.
Cool. So I'll just show you, this isn't my information. This is stuff that I just follow. So I'll just show you a couple things here. And you can tell me if it makes sense, right? So, sure. For example, so on this last dip we had, right? If you watch the on-chain metrics, you would not be worried about what happened, right? But if you're just looking at the price and all of a sudden it's tanking. So here's an example of a really good on-chain metric. It's called ASOPA. So this one, what it is essentially it is showing you when it's like the aggregation of tokens as they're selling, if they're selling at a profit or if they're selling at a loss.
Got it.
And so the thing about human psychology is nobody wants to sell at a loss.
Right.
And so it's very rare that this goes under 1. 1 is essentially anything under 1 is actually the coins being sold or selling at a loss. So you can see here, like this was a few days before, or this was actually leading up to the dip or during the dip, that this completely reset. And you can see here on the last dips, right? So we had like these previous dips over the last couple months that when this indicator went to basically 1 was when it bounced off of, because people no longer wanted to sell at a loss. So you can see like we just reset this indicator completely. And what happened, right? So this was a couple of days ago, but I'll show you one more here. So what, and this is a great one to watch. If you're doing swing trades, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. But yeah, if you're doing swing trades, it's a great indicator to watch. And here's what happened. So like I showed you, it went to 1, and look how we bounced off of it the last 2 days here. Because everyone that had sold basically that was going to sell, and then once the aggregation of the sellers got to a point where there was a little bit of losses being taken, now people start to hold again. So there's more nuances to this indicator. I'm not giving it full justice on the way I'm explaining it. I understand a lot of things better than the way I actually explain them, but I'm not always good at delivering my information. But this is a great indicator. And this kind of like, if you're following people on Twitter that kind of show this sort of thing, you're like, oh shoot, okay. So like we completely reset this. That's super healthy. You know, that happened exactly. You can see the circles of green here. You can see how it was at the absolute bottom of the previous dips over the last few months when this got to the one point. So I'll just show you a few more here as well.
Yo, my boy Plancy smart.
I put a lot of time, man. Just like you, I just focus on other things. Like, when you guys are doing all research on all the coins, I've been focused on Glassnode lately. So this is something that shows you. Well, first of all, okay, here's the miners. So look at this. So this is the miners recently. So the miners were taking profits, right? So this red, anything under 1, it's the net position of miners selling versus holding. And you can see this red stuff here over the last, because January and February, we had a massive run up. You have to remember, we went up to 40,000 out of nowhere. It's a huge run up. So the miners were taking some profits, which makes sense. But you can see on this previous dip, the miners were not selling at all. So you can see, like, there's no selling coming from the miners, like very little. They're actually holding coins. And that's something we can talk about further, like as far as this market cycle, which makes it unique compared to previous market cycles, that this market cycle, miners have what happened last market cycle, last halvening, is this was the first halvening, I believe, that a lot of the the not as good mining operations were completely flushed out, and you only had the superior miners left, which happens every halvening. But this halvening, I think what it left was really profitable, strong mining operations that are now able to borrow because they're really legitimate businesses. They're able to borrow, and they don't have to borrow fiat, and they don't have to sell their Bitcoin as much as miners did in previous cycles. So the actual sell pressure of miners this cycle, I believe they're hodling their Bitcoin more than previously, and this indicator shows that. And this is something that people can keep track of, but it shows you that they didn't sell it all in this dip. So that's showing you the miners. I'll show you what happened with long-term hodlers. So this previous dip here, this is the long-term hodlers. So what this is they actually, Glassnode is able to look at, through the on-chain metrics, they can look at wallets and they can see how long the different wallets have held their coins. Right. And they can actually categorize them. So this shows that the long-term holders were taking some profits, very similar to the miners in January and February. But recently on this dip, they actually added to their positions. And a lot of these, they did not sell.
Fuck?
these old wallets did not sell on this dip at all. So, the people that were actually selling were in the 3 to 6 month range. So it was a lot of new players that were actually
and a lot of this money here, a lot of that BTC money is what funds a lot of the shitcoinery that happens in the market as well. Because these guys aren't just because they're already rich now if they already hold that much BTC. So if they're selling BTC, they're selling BTC essentially to pump up and prime up the altcoin market, and that's what's funding a lot of the other ecosystems is Bitcoin money, which is that whole trickle down effect I talk about in the courses.
Oh, but definitely, man. And you see that, right? When if Bitcoin's in a strong position, as long as it's not dumping, once it trades sideways, it kind of gives the rest of the altcoins a chance to run. And you do see definitely people are taking profits out of Bitcoin and putting it in other projects. What this is it's basically new entries into crypto, and it's new wallets being created. And they're able to, like Glassnode runs all sorts of stuff to be able to determine that they're unique addresses and everything. But you can see here. So what this shows you is that we're obviously in a bull run, but we're in a very healthy bull run still, because this is new entries every single day into the space. So we're averaging over 60,000 new people coming to crypto daily. And so this shows you that this run is sustainable. Because you have new entries. If we didn't have new entries coming in, we're all just passing coins back and forth. At some point, it's going to drop. But this is something to watch because it's showing you, you can see this ramp up. We're increasing the amount of new participants in the space on a daily basis, right? So that's very healthy to see and shows you that this dip, we actually had an increase in new entries coming in, which is very good. I'll show you a couple quick more here. So this is the on-chain support. So I was watching this. This one here shows you. So what all these lines show you is how many coins and how much volume was moved at different price levels. And what this does is, it goes back to the fact that people don't want to sell to loss. So you had a whole bunch of volume at around the 55,000 K mark. Right. So what that did is it created, it's not the same as like a moving average. Like a lot of people that do technical analysis, they look at moving averages and stuff, and there's bounces off different moving averages. But what this is actually on-chain Bitcoins that were moved and the volume behind it. Because what that tells you is a lot of Bitcoin was moved between hands, and these new people that bought at 55, they don't want to sell to loss. So they're most likely going to hold. We actually broke through that though. We went all the way down. The next strongest support was 47. And I've actually tweeted about this, and I wasn't the only person. There's tons of more popular people saying that we were going to hold 47. We actually bounced off this, but if we would have gone past 47, it was actually a bit of a wasteland. Like there's not a lot of, because we ramped up so fast. Like
just looking at this chart, I mean, you can almost tell none of these guys dare sell within $1,000 of a round number. It's kind of funny. If you look at it, like 29,000, you see like the volume goes low and stuff. They always sell right after, a couple grand after, like right before. They're kind of doing what I tell the guys, like you want to sell a couple, like you don't want to sell at the round number, right? So sell like.
I understand what you're saying. Totally. No, that's a good point. That's a really good, interesting way to look at it, actually, because you're looking at it from a smart money whale perspective, or somebody that's up a significant amount on their investment. They're not waiting till a round number. Like they're selling, like you said, they're selling at 55. They're selling at 47 because they know when it hits 50. There's going to be a lot of short-term thinkers that are going to sell. Same with 60. So they're kind of, it's a bit more sporadic, but it's interesting to see that, we're not seeing, obviously, I guess this is 51 here, but
the data supporting what I teach you guys, man, I'm telling you.
Yeah, man, like it's cool that and I know that if you got into Glassnode, you'd be all over this stuff. Look at this, man. This just happened today. Look at this tether. So this was tether that came into. This is tether on all exchanges. Look at this spike we had. Clearly, we had some whales come in. This was today. So we just had $400 million of stablecoins going to exchanges.
That was probably JP Morgan.
So some big player moved in and no one knows about him yet. But somebody big came in, or at least a few big guys came in. Yeah, I'll show you what else we got here. So there's...
Continue on for once. I'm just going to go to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I'll keep talking here. But yeah, so what this one is it's essentially illiquid supply. So what this represents, the blue, is essentially it's coins that are either lost or it's coins that have the wallets themselves. And this represents, at this point, 78% of the total supply of Bitcoin is either in wallets that are considered lost. And the reason why they're considered lost is because they haven't moved in 10 years. Or it's wallets that have no history of selling. So Glassnode is able to actually categorize different wallets, and they're able to determine which wallets have a history of selling. And so these wallets have no history of selling, and or they're in lost supply. So right now, like I'll tell you, 10% of coins on the Bitcoin exchange, on the Bitcoin network have not moved in 10 years. 18% have not moved in 7 years. 35% haven't moved in 3 years. 45% haven't moved in 2 years. 55% have not moved in 1 year. But 78%, according to this metric, are either in lost wallets or wallets that have no history of selling. So it shows you, as that blue grows, it's showing you that basically the supply.
So you guys want me to dump? So that's what you want me to do?
What's that?
I could dump my coins if you like. I mean, it's up to you, bro. I just don't like to be called out like this. Like,
what are you talking about?
I don't know.
You're one of those wallets. You're one of those whales on chain.
I mean, I'm feeling kind of attacked right now. Like, you're just saying,
I'm exposing your positions here.
What are you doing, dude?
I'm giving away all your secrets. I can track you. So that's pretty much it for all these guys. I think that's pretty much it for that. So we can move on to something else. But the whole point of that.
Can you go back to the other screen where it shows the supply, the last chart you showed?
Oh yeah, I don't know if you got a chance to look at that. So this is
explain,
illiquid supply. Illiquid supply.
So this is what they're going to be used at some point. So within 15 years, this is going to be a really important chart, because what's going to happen is that after a couple more halvenings, the miners are not going to be making as much money, and there's going to be this whole outcry. Well, you guys, why don't we just do a new system? And the thing is, people think that this won't pass, but the miners completely control Bitcoin. So what's going to happen is some of these coins that haven't moved in years, they're going to say, hey, let's put them back on top of the mining stack again at some point.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that on Moongang, and it's an interesting idea. But I honestly, I mean, who knows, Ren? Who knows what will happen? But I don't see it myself, to be honest with you. I pretty much agree with most of the things you say, but that on this point, I just don't see it happening. I think it would hurt the credibility of Bitcoin too much.
Oh no, it definitely will. But they're going to do it anyway. That's
I don't think miners have enough pull in the network to actually pull something like that off. But it could be wrong.
Not if the governments get a hold of it too and start mining as well.
There's definitely position. Oh yeah, if governments do, you're right. Like,
that's what you would extrapolate out, like 15
yeah,
20 years.
At some point, like I'm just speaking from this day, today. But yeah, you're right. Like things can definitely change, and like as Bitcoin comes more integrated with governments and countries and stuff, like you're right. Like this could change, but right now, like today, if they did something like that, like first of all, I don't know how you would determine that those coins are not just held by some crazy person that doesn't want to sell. Like, could you imagine?
No,
you haven't sold for 10 years, and now all of a sudden your coins are being given to miners, and you're sitting on like $1 billion. Like I don't know how that legally they could do that. Like it just.
I mean, no, there's not legally. It's just they can.
Yeah.
They just gotta say that it is what it is. And it's like, it is what it is.
I think you'd get a massive fork of Bitcoin if that happened. Like, I think it would be really bad for the network. But you could, like, again, it's an interesting idea.
Bitcoin Cash's boner just goes like this. Fork, you say?
Yeah, man. Like, it could happen at some point, and it's an interesting idea. And like down the road, who knows? But like as of now, like I just don't see it. At least in the current situation, because I think it'd just be too detrimental to the system. But it's you think about a lot of things that like I just don't think about. Like you're very your ideas are all like you're definitely good at thinking about out of the box ideas for sure.
So I'm just saying, because like I truly believe this is going to happen, and the way it's probably going to end up happening is something like this. So this will be like, all right, let's just say what year are we? 2021. Let's just say 2040. 2040, right? By 2040, this is 100% going to happen. Let me just call it right now. You can clip this in the future. Hi, Mom. And and it's going to be this whole thing, right? That it's the way that's going to probably go down is like this. So the wallets that literally haven't moved in 30 years, right? In 30 years or 20 years, whatever that is, they'll set them like every year. We're gonna there's gonna be sort of like a sliding scale. Like the first wallets they're gonna start taking those coins, putting them on the top of the stack, and slowly creeping upwards until they kind of almost run out, and then they stop. And that's what I think that's how it's gonna happen, basically. And then if people move their wallet, even if they just move one transaction, right? Like Robert T just said, then they won't get hit. And that's probably how they'll do it, basically slowly over time, because I think a large part of the economy is going to be really based off this free float of Bitcoin, and the miners need money as well as governments need money. So there's going to be tons of pressure. So it's totally going to be like you guys don't understand how politicized all this shit's going to be later on. So in 40 years, I mean, just imagine there's fucking no BTC coming out. Like what is that
40,
like?
In 40 years, man, I can.
No, in 2040. I'm sorry, 2040.
Oh, 2040. I mean, that's still like 30 years away. Like, I mean, I cannot say I have no idea what's going to happen that far out. Like, pretty much my focus right now is just on the next like 6 to 12 months, or 6 to maybe 18 months of what's going to happen with this next market cycle, and if we're going to have an extended cycle, or what's going to happen. Like, that's my main focus. But yeah, 30 years out, man, like who knows? Like you definitely could be right on that. Like, it's just so hard to know where Bitcoin will be at that point in crypto as a whole. So it's impossible to know. But
my soul tells me yes. I don't know. That's just what my gut's telling me and everything. Like,
yeah, well,
if I know humans, and the fuckery they come up with, this is fuckery they'll do. Like, they will, and then they'll have to, at some point the system gets so like fuck, like, because what's going to happen is a bunch of unproductive countries are just like, we need Bitcoin. The government's going to be like this, and there's going to be this whole, and then because remember, all the miners are just a bunch of humans that got together that decided to play this game. So if all the human miners that control Bitcoin, because it's like the holders of Bitcoin don't control Bitcoin, the miners do, technically, right? So it's this whole thing where like they just get together and geopolitically like, yeah, let's just do this, and they'll like slow roll it because they don't want complete uprisings, right? But they'll honey dick you, they'll honey dick the world a little bit, little at a time, and then eventually by 2060, 2080, there's gonna be this whole thing where like, hey, let's leave a permanent inflation on BTC.
Yeah, man, like it's I think for myself,
beautiful.
For myself, like I don't know if I'll be around to see that necessarily. Like I definitely won't be as heavy in Bitcoin as I am right now, but I'll definitely be very, very diversified at that point where those sorts of things won't be as big of a deal. But it's just too far away to even think about at this point for me. But yeah, you could be completely right on all this stuff, right?
Right. It's gonna be funny watching this clip like on years from now. It's gonna be on like TV and everything. Everyone's just gonna clip back to this right here. Like, damn, fucker called it. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah, no,
I know.
Yeah, man, totally. It'll be.
I mean, we're just a bunch of.
There'll be clips of all this stuff if and when these sorts of things happen. Like, there definitely be sound bites from podcasts and from people talking on channels and stuff. But do you want me to show you?
Yeah, of course. Go continue on. Yeah,
some more stuff here. So I got to do screen share, I guess, again. Let me just.
Ethereum's already going towards look, Ethereum's going to become deflationary. It's good, but basically, if you look at the way Ethereum's working right now, it has already basically become a Federal Reserve already. They just control the interest rate with how much coins are burning.
Yeah, that is true, right? Like the way they're able to kind of like, they're able to manipulate the issuance. It kind of is like a Federal Reserve, like you said. Are you able to see my screen right now?
Oh yeah, it's bright as hell. Hell yeah, I see it.
No, but you can. I'm sharing. Okay. So this is what's called hodl waves. So all these this on Glassnode, and what it is it's telling you how long different wallets have held and what percentage of wallets have held for different lengths of time, and it's all color coded there, and you can actually look in. So the reason why I'm showing you this is because I'm basically going to show you how many coins are lost on the Bitcoin network. So if I get rid of everything,
can you go to my wallet? I'm 1 day to 1 week.
You're And a lot of these indicators, they actually don't take into account less than 24 hours because a lot of coins are actually moved, right? They're being traded constantly, and it would throw off the indicators. But so this is so this is just 7 and 10 years, right? So we can look right here. So today,
7 to 10 years, these guys haven't moved the coins.
So 7 to 10 years is 7.08% of the whole of all the coins that are in circulation. 7.08% have not moved in 7 to 10 years. 10.92% have not moved in over 10 years.
That's Satoshis. That's
Satoshi, sure. And that's lost coins. So over 10 years, it's 100% lost coins, because anyone that's been holding for 10 years, they would be up so much money on their coins. There's just zero chance that they didn't sell. And their wallet, all their wallet has to do is move a few coins, and they would no longer be in this category. So their wallet has not moved at all. So it's not like they sold a little bit. They haven't sold any of their coins in that wallet. And then 7 to 10 years, man, like I'm very likely that a good percentage of the 7 to 10 years have also lost coins. So you could be up to as much as 18% of the Bitcoin network that has completely lost tokens. And this is just in circulation. Right. And you can keep adding layers to this or whatever. Right. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. But I wanted to show you the index here and kind of explain what I've been working on for the last 4 months here.
I mean, you're making me fucking, this is stuff I've been thinking and saying for a while, that it's just, you're just putting the data to it, dude. It's amazing, dude.
Well, and what happened pretty much for me is I was obsessed with EOS and trying to figure out not EOS, shit. I was obsessed with EOS for 2 years, but not EOS. I was obsessed with CEL token all of last year, right? Mm-hmm. And what happened was CEL token ran up so much that I knew it was going to trade sideways for a few months and it was going to correct. And so I'm like, okay, I don't want to be, so focused on Celsius, because I know I just have to be patient for a few months while whales take profit and people that got in super early take profit. It's just going to take a while. And that's what you said too. You said that the beginning of this year, first quarter or two, we wouldn't see as much appreciation in CEL token because a lot of these guys up so much have to sell. Like, it only makes sense that when you're up 100x on your money, it doesn't matter how much you believe in a project. When you're up 100x, you got to take some profits. I mean, most people are going to do that.
The girlfriend won't get titties if you don't sell. I mean,
dude, your girlfriend is going to be pissed. Like, it's all unrealized gains unless you take some profits, right?
Like Plan C. Plan C, come on, you guys, we need a house. We need a Lamborghini.
Yeah, well, my girlfriend's not the best example. She just wants to hold this shit forever. But most women are 100% want to sell.
Oh my god!
I'm lucky. I don't have to deal with that. But I know guys that do. So what I did is I spent the last 4 months, as CEL was trading somewhat sideways, is I just focused on, my biggest thing was I just held Bitcoin and CEL token. And so my thing was, okay, I'm holding what I believe 2 really good investments that I believe have low risk on the downside, but I also want to sell some of them at the peak and go into risk off assets to make sure I hold a lot of these gains I'm up on. So my obsession was, when is the peak, and is there a way to figure out when the peak is based on indicators? And so this has just evolved over time. And what I've gotten to is I actually looked at close to 100 indicators on the Glassnode, as well as just like every indicator. I watched tons of YouTube videos. I listened to tons of podcasts. I followed all the top analysts like Willy Woo and all these top guys, and like which indicators did they look at, and as far as market cycles, because a lot of indicators are good for like short-term trading, swing trading, day trading, but there's only so many indicators that are really good for actually calling the tops of the market cycles and that have been the most accurate. And so I've actually changed this over the last few weeks to make it even better. Originally, when I put this out a few weeks ago, the 2013 cycle top was actually the indicator, or the index showed 105, and the 2017 showed 100. But I actually tweaked it and changed. So right now I have 7. So there's 18 on this page here, but there's only on the right. On the right there's 11 additional cycle top indicators right here. That's 11 additional ones that are kind of like honorable mentions, but they didn't make it in the top 7. So right now this index is based on these 7. And the reason why I chose these 7 is because they've been the most historical accuracy throughout the market cycles at calling the peak within days. And they also are indicators that they were very similar for both market cycles. And they're also ones that some of them didn't actually show a false top in the April 9th of 2013 when we had the false peak. it did like these three here, like the R hodl, the thermal cap, and the 1 year hodl wave. They didn't actually flash 100. So anyways, that's why that's what I put together here. I put together these 7, and as you can see, like it's a weighted index, right? So some of them I put a little bit more weight in than others, and you can see right now we're only at 48, right?
Right.
So we're not even close. Like we actually came down about 4.
So that's the blended rate with the 7, or with the whole, with everything.
Just the 7. These other ones are more like a gut check. They're just kind of like to tell you that it's to reaffirm these 7, because a lot of these other ones they're very good as well. But some of these are only updated, like these 7 are updated every day, whereas this one here, this RSI one, is only updated every 2 weeks. This BPT bands is only updated every week. And some of these other ones, they're just not as good. These are the top 7. These are the ones I might like. If one of these is not valid, then I'll insert another one, right? Like for example, I was actually using the Pi Cycle top as one of my 8 or one of my 7. But about a month ago, before the Pi Cycle went to 100, I actually realized, and I kind of figured out on my own. I'm like, this indicator is no longer going to be valid. And the Pi Cycle, when it crossed, like weeks before that, I actually removed it from my index. And I just knew that it wasn't going to actually be accurate this market cycle. So the Pi Cycle, in my mind, for it to be valid, we would have to either it would have to be the peak right now, because they crossed a few weeks ago, right? The Pi Cycle. So if the Pi Cycle was still valid, we would have basically the bull run would be over, or we would go into a short-term bear market before we go back into a bull at the end of the year. And this recent drop was only 25%. Right. So the Pi Cycle, yes, it was correct as far as we had a big drop within like a week or two of crossing, but it wasn't significant enough. Like in 2013, when the Pi Cycle crossed on the false top, we dropped 77% or something like that.
Right.
So anyways, a Pi Cycle is one that I actually removed. I don't believe in it compared to all these other ones. But you can see these are all pretty similar. Like there's some variation. Like this one here, right here. This one goes up actually pretty quickly. And same with the binary CDD. This one will go up fast. So some of these ones that are behind, like the top cap, once they start moving, they'll move fast and they'll catch up to these other ones. So, and what I also did on the bottom right here, you can see these 5 are ones that I chose because they're all ones that have been the most accurate. Because a lot of these indicators, they flash 100 or close to 100 at the peak, but these 5 are unique out of the 18 because they actually flash within 3 to 12 days before the peak. So I put them here because I want to keep a special eye on these 5, because when a couple of these start going 100, that could be potentially a week or two advance notice to keep track of the overall index.
Right. So what you're saying, 100x leverage short, right?
Well, it depends how much you believe. I won't be doing that, but yeah, man, you can. This is not financial advice. This is just my own thing, and we'll see what happens with it. But I'll be using it, but I'm not. It's not the gospel, and definitely don't just watch something like this. Like have many sources of your information, right? But you can see like the last 2 peaks, like it was accurate. On the bottoms, it was accurate. But this is only so many data points, right? This only based on 2 market cycles, really. But it's a lot of data, man. Like it's there's a lot that went into this for sure. I can give you an idea of kind of like how I created this here. Oops, how do I? This is on my background. I'm trying to close it, but it's on my background. That's why I can't close it. Okay, let me show you, for example, like what some of these things are. So for example, the binary CDD. I'll explain what this actually is, because I know once you understand this, you're gonna be super interested. So this is on Glassnode. You have to pay like whatever $30 a month to have access to this stuff, but it's not that much. So this binary CDD, this is basically old money and smart money. You can tell when they're selling. So what you have to do is you have to go. So you have to go to 30-day moving average. And so what this does is it tells you on average, if more. Okay, so if it's binary, right? So if it's a 1, then that tells you that then more than the medium. Okay, so on average, there's a certain amount of like old wallets that are selling every single day. But if it's more than average, that's kind of a hint, because then it goes to 1, because it's telling you that more than average amount of older wallets are selling on this specific day, right? So and in order for it to get to a one would be like the highest. You have to
one. Okay. See, I see it now. Yep, at the bottom.
So I'll just show you here, right? So this is the 2013 market cycle. So this was the false top, right? You can see that this indicator started to ramp up, right? And it started to ramp up because like smart money, people like you, smart money, old money was selling. It never got to a one, but it got close, right? It didn't quite get to one at the peak of the false top in 2013, but at the true top, which was on the 29th of November, this indicator, actually wasn't at a one. What am I saying here? Oh, it got to, basically went to a one like the next day or a couple days later. So, which actually 2013 had like two kind of peaks. It had like the 29th and then it had the 4th. They were basically the same. So anyways, it went to a one at the peak of the cycle. It went to one at the peak of 2017 as well. So you can see right here, it was at a one. So yeah, right now we're not close. Like we're at 0.7, which is not even close.
That was Charlie Lee's wallet right there that dumped the top right there.
Yeah, well, a lot of these guys, no, like at the 2017 peak, there was definitely a lot of famous guys in the space that were it's part of that old money that was selling, right? Oh, so definitely. When we had this ramp up, you can see when we had this ramp up initially at the beginning of the year when we went to 42K, we definitely had some older wallets taking some profits, but it never got to one here. And then now we've cooled down and we're at 0.7. So yeah, we're not, old money is basically older wallets. I showed you on that other graph. Older wallets aren't selling yet. We're cooling off. You can see we're actually downtrending now. So people are holding for the next leg up. People are not scared at these levels and they're going to keep holding. I'm not going to go through all these. Like there's so many things to go through here, but I'll just give you a couple more examples of these indicators. So here, what this one is it's actually called thermocap. So what this represents is it's the aggregate of all the miner profits since the beginning of Bitcoin. So this orange line is the profits of all of the miners of Bitcoin throughout the entire history of Bitcoin. So as you can see, like this is total profits. It's going up. It's going up. So the price is in a logarithmic chart. So it's not fair comparison because the price is log and this indicator is in linear. So it's different, right? But you can see like the profitability, or this is total money. This is basically money going into the network because it's miner revenue, it's miner profitability. But what the actual true indicator is it's a ratio between the market cap and the thermocap. And the thermocap is the total miner revenue, right? So look how accurate this has been. It's literally been within like the day of. So what I use myself is I actually use a 7-day moving median because I found that was actually more accurate. But with this indicator, you can see that it actually peaked out on the 16th of December, which was the daily close was actually at the top. So it pretty much peaked out at the exact day. And if you don't use the 7-day median, it's exact day, but I use it for a specific reason. But so yeah, anyways, you can see it's very accurate for calling the tops of the 3 cycles. Look where we are now. We're not even close, right?
So stop being bitches, you guys.
Yeah, don't be scared. Everything's fine. Here's another one.
I love you guys.
All these are very similar, right? They're all kind of going to show you that oops, I got to change it. I got to go to
oops.
I got to make these log. So yeah, you can see here again. This is like bang on the tops, and like it called the false peak. This one. This is to do with like a ratio of hodl waves. It's a bit of a complex one.
Does Plan C stand for Plan Chad?
I don't know. Plan C is obviously it's a play on Plan B, and I guess I just came up with it because of Celsius Network, and I don't know. I wanted to be anonymous and stuff, obviously too, but
I'll go with Plan Chad. There we go.
You can call me Plan Chad, I guess. So this is net unrealized profit and loss. So what this is telling you is essentially like what percentage of the coins are in profit versus at a loss, right? And like all the tops have been pretty much the exact same. So you can see here, they were all basically 0.8. At all these tops, they're 0.8. So we're not close on that one either. So yeah, anyways, that's pretty much it. Like I'm not going to go through all these. It's just a lot to get into. And I'll just show you. I'll show you this one. So going back to the index, right? These are the 7. So this one is weighted as 10%. This is Willy Woo's proprietary, basically, he calls it the top cap model. So this is on Woonomics, or Willy Woo's charts. He's one of the most famous on-chain guys in the space. And he you can follow him on Twitter, but he created this. And so this has been very accurate, and not only for the tops, but for the bottoms as well. And so if you look here, like all these tops, he's basically nailed exactly. So you can see where we're at right now, and we're not close, right?
Not even close.
So like if we were at 133K today, like, or not exactly today, you have to go further in, but pretty much if we were like 135K today, then it potentially could be the peak. But we're not close, right? So, and this is going up every single day, like $400 or $500. So he estimates based on this specific model, which he uses primarily. He says we're going to hit anywhere between, I mean, he says pretty high numbers. He says 300K for Bitcoin, based on his model. But
that's crazy too, because that was the top line numbers that we've been saying in the course for the end of the bull market would be 300 to 400,000 for the entire thing for BTC.
Well, there's some guys like you're doing this stuff based on like your intuition of being in crypto and the amount of research you put in and just your many factors you're factoring in to come to those conclusions, and also understanding human emotion and human psychology. Like there's so many things you factor in when you I primarily look at like the data and the numbers, but like there's so many ways to get to the same conclusion, and like you're using a bit of everything, I believe. I don't want to speak for you, but it seems like you're using basically.
Yeah, I'm not going to as in depth in terms of the numbers right here, but I'm essentially using a bunch of basically memory points essentially from just looking into a bunch of projects and looking at indicators and just knowing how humans act, as well as what kind of money can actually jump in. So it's a lot of it is in my head, but then I do use a couple of other things in charts and stuff and certain numbers in terms of market caps to kind of figure out, because like I do a lot of my charting in market cap charting as my indicator and stuff, because I use coin market cap. That's my glass node is coin market cap sites, so I'm very good at figuring that out. But this is really fucking interesting right here, because like this is really advanced stuff right here.
I want to show you this one, man. This isn't on Glassnode. This is another website, but this one here has been amazing for actually calling like about a week or a few days before the peaks. So look at this. This is the 2013 peak. Look when this peaked out. It peaked out on the 18th was the peak, and then the actual peak was the 29th and the 4th. So it actually gave you a 2-week heads up when this indicator peaked. And I have this indicator on my index. Once it gets over 15, it hits 100 basically. And that's one of the ones that has a heavier weighting in the index. Here's the 2019 or sorry, the 2017 peak. See how this peaked on the 7th and the actual peak was on the 16th. So it gave you 11 days heads up, and it went past 15 and went past in a hurry. Like within 2 days, it basically jumped to 17. So that's an indicator that kind of gives you a heads up on the peaks. Let me just show you. Oh, I want to show you this one. This is an interesting one. It's only updated every 2 weeks, so it's not as useful, but it has been very accurate. What this is very simple. It's just a 2-week RSI for Bitcoin, and you can see every single peak. The peak was over a 95 RSI on Bitcoin. So this was the peak in within 2 weeks of the 2017. This was the 2 peaks in 2013. This was the peak before. Every single one of them, we went over 95 RSI. So the highest we got recently here, when we had that massive run up at the beginning of the year, is we actually got to 90. But you can see we've actually gone way down. Now we're at 70. So when this gets back to like over 90, and especially if it gets to 95, this would be one indicator. And I have that on the side of my thing, right? That's the this is this right here. So what I did is 100 for this indicator is over 95 RSI, and then 0 is basically the 0 for this indicator is the bottoms of the markets of the 2 bottoms where the RSI was only at 34. So yeah, that's how I'm coming to these things. Like it's a lot of math, there's a lot of spreadsheets involved, but essentially it's what I did is I basically took like 18 different graphs and basically made an algorithm that converted it into a singular number. So instead of staring at 18 graphs and having to like estimate how far we up on the different indicators, they all equal a number, and then they're all put together into a one number that is used. So Yeah, it saves people a lot of time. So it takes me about 20 minutes to update this every day. But if I had to just stare at charts and just kind of use my intuition, like you're going to spend hours a day. And like the guys I follow on Twitter that are very advanced, way more advanced than me, they spend hours a day looking at stuff. It's their full-time job, right?
Right.
So there's definitely layers to this game. I'm just
He's got over
starting
200 IQ, so he does it faster than them.
I'm just starting out, man. I'm learning. I definitely have a lot to learn on this, but yeah. So there's that. I've went through actually quite a few of them already, man. Like I know it's not
great.
The most exciting thing to this. Oh, I'll show you a few simple ones. I'm essentially going to get through all these really faster. Here, I'll show you this guy. So because some of these are harder to understand when you first get into it, but other ones of them are very simple. So this is on looking at Bitcoin. So this website, there's some very simple indicators, and this is the 2-year MA. So what this is it's the 2-year moving average, which is the green line at the bottom. That's a 2-year moving average for Bitcoin. Just times 5 is the red line. And if you look, it's once you get past like a 5 multiplier of the 2-year moving average, you're getting kind of overheated. And historically, once we break through that red line, is within like about a month of the peak. So on all the top, on all of them, we're within basically a month. So you can see from this indicator that we're not even past the red line yet. We came right up to it, but we actually bounced off of it, which we also did in 2017. See how we bounced right off of it right here?
Right.
Literally bounced off of it. We retraced. And is Wasabi here?
Yeah, he just decided to fucking
Hey
show
man,
up.
what's going on? Hey,
really
what's
good.
going on, man?
Yeah, I like these. I like this this data aggregation here. It's really interesting. Like so this chart that you have up here are the area under the curve for the first, let's say, 2 cycles. I'm guessing it just looks like it is visually, but I could be wrong.
It's a half. It's exactly a half. I did the math.
Oh, okay.
Like so if you take the green line and you go to the absolute bottoms of the absolute like day that we hit the bottom, it's a 50% from the green line. So once we get down 50%, it's literally been the bottom on every single market cycle.
Okay. Does the area, at least on the blow off tops, like it looks like from last cycle, it looks like when it crossed the red line, it almost looks like the area under the curve is less from last cycle versus the 2013 bubble.
Oh, you mean we didn't go past it as much? Yeah, that's true. So what I did, exactly. So I actually did the math. So I took the red line and to the peaks, and I looked at these 2 cycles compared to this one, and we're downtrending. And that's why I didn't. Here, I'll show you exactly what I did. So what I did is I didn't actually. That's why this one's not included in my top 7. The reason why it's not included in my top 7 is because I can't predict how much it's going to drop. My prediction is it's going to. So the peak in 2017 was a 10 multiplier from the 2-year moving average. So my prediction is this time we're going to be at a 7, but that's just my prediction based on looking at it. So I can't say for sure, and that's why I didn't include this one. So I went to the wrong place. Just sorry guys, just 1 second here. I'm going to show you exactly what I did. So yeah, this is one that I have on the side of my index because it's an interesting one to watch. And once we get through that red line, I think we're within a few months of the peak, but I have no way of knowing that we're actually at the peak. And that's why some of these indicators will get you within days. Some of them will get you within months. Some of them will end up being invalid. So that's why you have to use multiple indicators. Like if you're just relying on the pi cycle, or if you're just relying on one of these indicators, I don't even know.
You're gonna get fucked.
You're screwed. Like you gotta take into consideration, like in my opinion, as many as possible that are actually legit. Yeah. And I went through all of them, like, and these are the ones. I mean, if people find other ones, like I want to know. What I'm actually planning on doing is I'm planning on messaging all these top analysts with this information, and I'm going to ask them if there's any they would add or take away from the index, and we'll see what happens. I mean, Glassnode might end up straight up copying all this stuff. We'll see. I mean, they're the ones with all the data. So, so here's the 2-year thing here.
Yeah, and we'll have Plan C probably do something for the courses and stuff at some point as well, and for this because this is really amazing information. Just
so like here's the spreadsheets that I get to this calculation, right? So what I do is I basically take this is the 2-year moving average, this is the current price, this is the multiplier, and then I use the historic bottoms, which is 0.5, and the forecasted peak, which is 7. So this is my forecasted peak based on looking at it. So when you do that, we're only at a 3.01 or 3 today. and this is the peak, in my opinion, what will be the peak. So we're only 39 on this indicator, right? That's how I'm getting to all these indicators. Like each one of these, like for example, this is the RSI. So this is the 2-week RSI.
Yeah.
So for this, this is showing you kind of like this is the indicator. So once we get to a 95 RSI on the 2-week, we hit 100 on this this index. So I using this is actually a really interesting one. This one here is I ended up using I don't know if you guys know the ACE SOPR. So this is to do with like, are people selling at a profit or a loss? But when you're doing like long time frames, you have to use the 60-day moving average for this indicator. And when you use the 60-day moving average, what it shows you is it basically, you can see more of like a macro. People use this to swing trade. This is the one, I don't know if you saw at the beginning of the stream, Wasabi, but I was showing dollar cost. I was basically showing him how in this last dip we just had, we basically reset the SOPR, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
We completely reset it and we bounced off. Like you can see right here, like this is for swing traders right here. Like this indicator is amazing for swing traders because as soon as we get to 1, people don't want to sell to loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's called every single one of these. Yeah. So and then what happened is, that was a 47. That was a 47K bounce we had. Because there's a lot of on-chain support at that level, we just bounced right off of it, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at this indicator on a 60-day moving average, then what you can do is you can totally see the macro cycles. Like, here, I'll show you guys.
Yeah.
Anyways, man, it's just a lot of information to go through. But yeah, go ahead, Wasabi.
That multiplier of 7, is that measured from like the previous all-time high?
Yeah, so that took the days of the 2017 peak. So at the 2017 peak, we were 10x the 2-year moving average, and then at the 2013 peak, I think we were like 15 or something, or 13. So I just estimated. I kind of just I just kind of estimated as being 7. Like it was. It's just my intuition. Like that's why I can't use this one in my index because.
It's a holy number.
It's more of a get. Well, it seems to be something that could be accurate. So the 60
or use a Fibonacci number and stuff, one of those universal numbers to see what that gets you.
Yeah, that can be the case a lot of the times, right? So this is on the this is the one I was telling you. What am I doing wrong here? I'm doing something wrong.
People's heads are exploding in the chat right now as we speak.
What am I doing?
I think 7 is the
I'm looking at the wrong indicator. That's why it's not working. Sorry, guys. So this is the one I was telling you about. So this is people selling at a loss, right? So this 1, anytime it goes below 1, people are selling at a loss. So the only time people sell at a loss is during the bear market. And so what this is a 60-day moving average of the daily average of basically an aggregation of all sellers. So you can see at the peaks of the market cycle is we get up to a certain point here, right? So these are actually very close, even though they don't look close on this. It's actually very small difference, and you can see we're way down here now. Like we completely reset. Like there's a lot of So this is a good macro indicator. And if you go, if I go to my thing here, you can see, right? So I have the bottoms here, and the bottom is basically just less than 1, and then the top is here. So that's how I'm getting that on this one, but. Anyways, it's a lot of stuff. Like I don't know if you were on the beginning of the stream, Wasabi, but I'm using the Mayer multiple. But again, with the Mayer multiple, it's a 200-day moving average of Bitcoin, and it's a multiple from that 200-day moving average instead of the 2-year. But the problem with the Mayer multiple is it's not consistent. Every peak it's been going down. It's been going down.
Right.
So you can't use that one, right? But some of these they haven't dropped as much as others. I'll give you an example of one that's been actually extremely consistent. This one here is one that I use in my index, and the reason why is because, geez, where am I at here? What's going on? Yeah. So this one is what it is called the VWAP, and it's the volume weighted average price. So the volume weighted average price is actually been one of the best indicators. So this one is actually at a higher peak in 2017 than 2013. And every single peak has been essentially the same. And not only has it been the same, but this one actually called the peak about a week before it happened. So you can see here, this is the false top. Mm-hmm. This gave a 4.27. The actual top was 4.37. The top in 2017 was 4.42. We had this massive run up. We hit 4.2, and then we came back down. But not only has it been very consistent for the peaks of all the cycles, but look at this. It gave you a heads up on the peak. So what's going on with my lines here? Oh, I don't have the price. That's why. So look at this. Look at this right here. And this happened on every single cycle. So this is the actual peak for Bitcoin on the 16th. That's the daily close that was the highest. Look on the 7th, look how this spiked up. It went from 3.8 all the way up to 4.4 in a day. See how this little thing here, this blip? This actually gave you a heads up when it hit over 4.4. This gave you a heads up that the top is coming in essentially a week because it's based on volume, right? It's a volume. It's factored into volume, and it did that on every cycle. So, so yeah, I don't know how much more you guys want to get into all this. I mean, I pretty much.
Yeah, you pretty much went over all of it.
pretty much.
Wait, what just happened?
He exploded. He's like, ah, oh, that was so perfectly timed. Jesus.
Shit. he just shot up into the sky.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, those are actually really good. I'm just gonna basically chat with Plan C, and as soon as all that stuff gets overheated, I'm just gonna go by Plan C's advice when to sell.
I'm yeah. Oh man.
From Moon Math.
Yep. My nose is leaking. Beautiful.
If you guys want to get, sorry about that, I actually clicked off on the stream. But yeah, if you guys want to get into other topics, like this topic, I pretty much hit on it. But yeah, anyways, what I'm going to be doing is I have a website coming out, and Wasabi was actually the guy that Look Into Crypto. You probably want to be called Look Into Crypto now. Look Into Crypto was the one that actually picked the name for the website that I'm going to have coming out. It's called BitcoinCycle.io, which I believe is a great name, and it was a great choice on his part. And
my name sucked. My name sucked.
Well, my name sucked. All my suggestions were horrible. Your suggestions weren't bad, Miguel. Or sorry, man.
That's okay.
Dollar cost. Sorry, dollar cost.
Miguel.
Dollar cost. But yeah, your suggestions were also really good. But yeah, no, Looking at Cryptos was really good. And so I'm going to be. What my goal is to have all that information essentially on that website and have it updated daily so that people can actually, instead of me just posting on Twitter every once in a while this information, I want to have it on a daily update thing. And so yeah, that's pretty much it with that.
It's amazing. I can't wait to show that out for you, man. That's gonna be amazing.
A couple other topics I wanted to hit on, I can get your guys' opinion on moving away from the market cycles, is like the potential effect of an ETF. Because I was listening to a podcast a couple of weeks ago or a week ago or so, and these guys were part of one of the groups that's actually trying to bring an ETF to Bitcoin. And they said right now that there's 9 different major applications and major players that are trying to essentially launch an ETF. And these guys have like 20, 30 years experience in launching various types of ETFs in the financial system. And they said that on average, the US ETFs for a specific product are usually 50 to 70 times larger than the Canadian ones. And the Canadian Bitcoin ETF, when it launched, like it got like $1 billion like right out of the gate. So they're estimating that the US ETF for Bitcoin could easily be out of the gate 50 to 75 million or $1 billion. And they were saying that they think it could launch towards the end of this year, early next year. So I'm wondering if the ETF, when it launches, is going to be what pops the bubble, or if it's going to actually be what extends the market cycle.
It's going to extend it.
That's a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's going to extend it, and I don't know if it might cause an overheating, but I think I think that. It depends if it happens this year or next year. If it happens next year, it's probably what tops us out. But if it happens this year, we'll continue on higher. Because it's like these people are just getting into crypto, so they'll just keep buying and buying and buying it. So it'll kind of trough us off and make us go back up again.
Yeah, I kind of hope it doesn't launch this year because I don't know, like the ETF could be basically a last, like, because that's a lot of economic mass. So I'm trying to think like realistically where you're going to get more after the ETF surges the price up, because you have all that money that's flowing in. That's like a pretty big milestone. It's hard to say because I guess it kind of all boils back to like what the aggregated indicators that Plan C has, because like there's going to be a certain price, and then you could even maybe use that as like a reference point to see if it's basically hitting like a blow off top. Because I was anticipating the same thing where the cycle would go into like 2022 and onwards, but it's hard to see because the market can get very crazy much faster than, I mean, I'm going to keep that part relatively open, but I was definitely leaning towards like a longer cycle because it's a lot harder to tell on the Bitcoin price chart because the price movements this time on Bitcoin to USD on the USD chart, they don't really reflect what Bitcoin did last cycle, where it was basically a curve, like a gradually steepening curve up until its blow off top.
Right.
But the movements this time around, it's like a very clear impulse wave. It basically does like a huge impulse and then has like a corrective wave and then another huge impulse, which we're in like the 3 wave right now. So it's like it's really rhyming so far with that 2013 cycle, which obviously like it can definitely diverge at some point, but it's like a slightly less aggressive version of what happened back in 2013 thus far. And the other one that's really useful to kind of chart this stuff out is the Ethereum price chart, because even Ethereum, that one is actually mapping back extremely well to its previous market cycle, and the moves it's making, like it's making really big moves, but it's the angle of attack on the price chart is not as steep, even though the gains are obviously really good. But it's really interesting because it does look like it's kind of it's not as aggressive and it's taking longer to make each of the waves. So I would love it if that ETF gets like they hype it up for 2021 and then just intentionally push it back into 2022 to get like a blow off top sometime in like 2022. That'd be awesome. That'd be great. I'd love that. But I guess we'll see how that rolls out this year, because there's a couple. I know the main one, at least in the States, I think it's the Van Eck ETF. That's been,
there's a lot of legit,
there's
some legit ones. Like this guy was saying, like there's 9 of them, and like a lot of them are really legit. Like I think Gemini has one, like Van Eck, like you said, has one. And the thing that a couple guys I listened to recently were saying, which I never thought about it this way, they were actually saying that the reason why a market peaks is not because there's people selling initially. It's not enough buyers at that price level. So think of it as a wall of money that's continually pushing up the price. And it's actually a lack of buyers than it is more people taking profits. What happens is, from what these guys were saying anyways, is that people no longer are, there's not enough buyers to support that price. And so what happens is the price will start to slowly drop, and then a lot of people will start to take profits, and it just exponentially drops. So, but if an ETF coming in at the end of this year or beginning of next year could be that wall of money that extends the cycle, because at those price levels, like if it's an ETF, they're not going to care if Bitcoin's over 100,000, right? Because they're long-term investors most likely, and it's an instrument that like financial markets are used to using. They're used to using ETFs, and like this could be, all sorts of different reasons why people could be getting into these ETFs. And I just don't think they're going to care about the price necessarily, because it's just like, they're like, yeah, you might know more than me looking at crypto as far as like all the different reasons why people would invest in ETFs, but it's just like an instrument that all these guys are used to using. And it's such an easy thing for them to add to like an overall portfolio, or add to a retirement fund, or add to, whatever else they're using it for. So that wall of money, if it comes in, like I said, if the ETF does launch at the end of this year, early next year, you could be looking at $50 to $100 billion that initially comes in within weeks, like potentially within the first month, because Canada, 1 billion came in within the first week or two. And like this guy said, with all different ETFs he's launched in Canada and the US, it's usually 50x for the US. For any given asset, it's about a 50x. And so, and the demand, I just think the demand for Bitcoin, like with an ETF, will be just so gigantic. So, and it'll also be a trickle effect too. Like it'll be initial surge, but then you'll have a continual trickle. So, there's just one thought. Like I'm just trying to think of like, besides corporate buying on their treasury, right? Because like right now we had we had like Tesla obviously start this corporate, well, MicroStrategy and then Tesla, but Tesla took a little bit of profits recently, as far as I heard, and which makes sense because they're up a lot and they have to. Like a lot of these companies, these big corporations, they have to take profits. Like some of them will actually be like, it's fiduciary duty. They don't have a choice. Like there was another big company, because people think this market cycle is different just because these players are in, but these are just big whales. They look at them as like a large whale that actually has to take profits. Like in the past cycles, we've always had whales in crypto, but these whales, a lot of them had the ability to decide if they want to take profits or not, right? Whereas these corporations, they don't necessarily have the ability. Sometimes they have to balance quarterly. Sometimes they have to balance like their portfolio in general. If they're up a certain amount on one asset, like it's just like they don't have a choice, is my point. So not all of them, like Michael Saylor's an exception. He has control of the company. He can do whatever he wants. He won't sell anything probably. And there'll be other people like him. But most treasuries will have to take profits a little bit. There was one company I heard an interview where they literally were getting so much flack from their shareholders that what they did is they sold because they were up so much, they sold basically enough. So they took out the original investment and then just let the rest ride, because then their investors couldn't give them a hard time because they took out their entire initial investment in Bitcoin. And like, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars with this company, right? And then they left the rest in. They probably wanted to leave it more, but just so their shareholders would shut up, they took out their initial investment. So I could see a lot of these big companies and these they could see them doing things like that, like taking out their initial investment or balancing their portfolio. But I just don't see them holding when they're up 10x. Like if you put in $1 billion or $10 billion into Bitcoin, and now it's 100 billion, like you got to take profits, and that's what Tesla showed us. They took profits, right?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because it's all because like in the case for Tesla, because you're right, like there's players that are getting in that are they're getting in much later on the price chart, so and from their standpoint, the risk, they have to manage the risk a lot more closely because they're not going to hit like the same multiples people will have this cycle from buying like in the depths of the bear market. So yeah, I agree. Like what the buyers that are coming in, especially after like 30K and higher, they're likely going to have to sell off positions at some point, just so that they're de-risked in the market, because they're not going to be protected as easily going into like whenever the next bear market comes about. So yeah, I think it's really interesting because I would say at least some of the funds that, for example, the ETFs like VanEck, I mean, there was articles on that even during the 2018 bear market. So I'm sure the fund managers loaded up on lots of Bitcoin during the bear market. So they, like, for them, they only need to sell off a very small amount of their position where they're already totally de-risked. Like I think there's going to be certain funds where they have to liquidate because they just kind of got in late to the party, and then other ones where they sell off like a small percent of their bags, but then keep a lot of their holdings for the long term. Because this time around, I mean, if Bitcoin peaks at, let's say, $140,000, I have a hard time seeing the price crash 85% from that price level. Like I think it depends how high we see the peak, at least this cycle. So if it does go, let's say, $200,000 to $300,000 per coin, then we can definitely see like a much bigger crash, I guess. But it's also you're hitting much higher blow off tops. So I think for me, at least on the price chart, like 100 to 150 in that range seems very reasonable. 100 even kind of seems a little bit low. Not financial advice, if you decide to never sell. But something like 140 seems like almost like a very reasonable target for me, with the possibility of it overextending, because this is really the first time, I mean, we're going to have this adoption of crypto, basically. I mean, right. All the other previous cycles were complete speculation. And I mean, crypto's obviously it's still mostly speculation, but this cycle is different in that this is actually getting adopted by the world. And what's going to happen is, like in 401k plans, they are likely going to start having a small percentage of people allocate their 401k plans to cryptocurrency. Like it's 100% going to happen. So like anybody that's in a corporate job, I'm pretty confident at least by like 2025, we're going to start to see fund managers just allocate a small percentage to things like cryptocurrency, which will be mostly in something like Bitcoin. And once that happens, you have money gradually flowing into the market pretty much indefinitely, aside from a lot of like the speculation and the fund money that kind of did a huge front run on everybody else. But that's why it pays to be the speculator when everybody else doesn't want it. So that's where you get rich.
Yeah, man. Like so like you just said, okay, so like the traditional market, right? Like there's, for example, the S&P 500. So any of those companies that's in the S&P, like they have a floor on their price because they just have this constant buy pressure because everyone just throws their money into the S&P or whatever indexes. Like so, like there's just a constant buy pressure, and anytime there's So with crypto, like I mean, it's similar to like I guess I compare it to the CEL token. Like CEL token has their weekly buybacks, so they essentially have like a constant buy pressure every single week on the CEL token, right? And so it's the same with all of crypto, like you're describing. So once these products mature and like ETF is here and these retirement funds are allocating and all these like major players have like a constant allocation going into buying, a crypto index or buying Bitcoin specifically or Bitcoin and ETH or whatever projects, they're not going to be buying like whatever shitcoins, but they're going to be buying either an index that comes in the future of crypto, most likely a top 10 or a top 50. Yeah, or buying your guys's index. You guys are gonna be like the Kathy Woods, or what's her name? Like the lady that does the
Kathy Woods.
Yeah, you guys, your index is gonna be like the version of the Kathy Woods for crypto. Like looking for like the moonshots that are like actually legit that you can like whatever, right? But yeah, like so yeah, I totally see that, man. I totally see that looking at crypto, like this buy pressure that comes, like it's not here yet, that constant buy pressure, but it's going to be here. And so like just by default, once that's here, we're definitely not going to have these massive like 70+% corrections. Like this market cycle is going to be extremely interesting to see the correction, especially on specific tokens that have like a token economics that adds like has a reason to constantly add buy pressure. Like CEL token, for example, like I just really think that it's going to do well during the bear market because they're going to continually onboard users. Like all the assets in the app are going to go down, like their AUM is going to drop, but they're always adding more money to the app every single day. They're always adding more assets. They're always adding more users. They're always like they're going to have a war chest. Like Celsius is going to have, after this next fundraise, they're going to probably have anywhere between 100 to 500 million dollars of war chest from this raise. And because of that, they're going to be able to do advertising during a bear market. People are going to want yield during a bear market. Like people that are going to stick around in crypto, they're absolutely going to want yield. They're absolutely going to look to use Celsius. And anyone that wants to be in stables, which I plan on putting a percentage into once I sell that close to the top, is you're going to want to earn on a platform like Celsius, right? You're going to want to earn in all the coins, and the flexibility with Celsius is amazing because they have it now so that you can hold any token and you can earn on any token. So say you want to hold a stable coin, you can literally hold, like you can say like, okay, with this stable coin, I want to earn this week, I want to earn SNX because it's down from the peak more than other projects. Okay, next week, I'm going to switch it over because whatever other project is down massively. Say ETH is down during the bear market. I'm gonna dollar cost into ETH. You're basically choosing on a weekly basis which projects you want to dollar cost into during the bear market, and you want to dollar cost into, but you're holding stable coins and you're earning whatever 10% dollar cost averaging into your top projects. And ideally, you were able to reserve a lot of the wealth you accumulated from the previous bull run. So it's all about selling close to the top, or not selling. You don't want to sell at one specific point. You want to ladder out of the market, go into risk off assets, at some point, wherever that is for every individual, it's up to them. But get some of your money into risk off assets, whatever percentage. You want to leave the moon bag like you guys talk about as well, because you never know when the exact peak is.
Right.
But you know, once you get into these stable coins or these risk off assets and you use Celsius or, you know, another product, you know, I'm looking forward to the bear market because I'm just going to be accumulating all the coins that I wanted. Like they're going to stick around. And during a bear market, you really see which products are legit. Like for the people that stick around, you can really tell which ones are going to be the winners for the next cycle.
I'm going to get fucking like jacked in the bear market. Like diced, bro. Like, but anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Like your course during the bear market is going to be so valuable for people because especially like, and the thing is, if people come in during a bear market, like there's so much more better off. Like the people, like I entered during the peak of the 2017, right, and I stayed around for the entire cycle, like you guys did. But imagine coming in during the bear market. Like you're coming in at the basement. You're as long as you can figure out quickly what you're doing and you can get education and listen to your guys' information, then you can just like, you're just so ready for the next cycle. Like it's always better to have a cycle under your belt, but at least if you're coming in, it's just very hard to come in during a bear market. Like you have to almost have a friend that like pulls you in. Right. Because like how else, like none of us came in during the bear market. Like you guys didn't come in during the bear market. I don't think Charlie came in during the bear market. Like, do you guys know anyone that came in during the bear market? like brand new to crypto, like comes in during the bear market. Like, do you guys know anyone?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Good.
I was just gonna say, like, it's usually just people that got in during the cycle. Like they didn't get in during the bear market, they got in at some point during the market cycle, and then they end up going like underwater basically, and then have to like dollar cost average, and then that's where they really learn how to play the bear market. But it's a complete washout like process. Like it's a weed out because most people capitulate. They will exit the market. They're not gonna they're just not going to be able to last until the next market cycle. It's just the human mentality, and it's really easy to say, like right now as the market's good, it's really easy to say that you'll be disciplined during the bear market, but 75% of the people, which it's probably even higher than that, will capitulate. And then it's going to be that small fraction that reaps the rewards, because ultimately the believers that end up lasting are time and time again, they're the ones that get rich and wealthy. Everybody else that capitulates is just not going to make it. But the good thing is every cycle you bring in new people into the market, and then a percentage of those people are going to make it into the next cycle. And then some people just happen to get in early enough during the bull market where they're at least like protected, and they're not having to stress out. But it's like the longer and longer the cycle goes on for, the probability that the person goes underwater during the next bear market starts to increase. So it's just experience, I guess. Like it usually just takes a full cycle for those that actually make it through and are disciplines. They have to go through that whole process to really understand things. But that's the whole thing with DC and Charlie's courses, is they basically they go through and they give you a crash course on a lot of that stuff, so that you're basically prepared, and you get the knowledge that you need to be successful in the market. So that's the biggest thing. It's very costly when you make mistakes in this market. So it's all about how many coins you can accumulate over time. And if you're not growing your Bitcoin stack over time, or your CEL stack, or your Ethereum stack, whatever it is, you're falling behind. Like it's not even debatable. Like if your fiat value could be going up, but if you're not accumulating more coins through these really big cycles, you're basically failing. And there's good ways to go about that.
Yeah,
DC
man. Like
and Charlie promote that are very good.
Comparing like a chart, like I like it when you do a Moon Gang. Like as far as like, I mean, a lot of coins, like what you should be doing, and you guys, I'm sure you guys do this all the time. It's something that I don't necessarily do enough of, is when you're looking at your whatever coin you're invested in, is pull up a chart versus ETH and Bitcoin, because that's giving you a way more, like in my opinion, that's giving you a way better picture of like how your investment's actually doing. Like you just said, look at crypto, like you don't want to look at it. You definitely want to look at it, you know, versus fiat, obviously too. But looking at it versus Bitcoin and ETH, like that really gives you a better picture of how it's performed historically. Like even EOS. Like during a bull market, everything goes up, right? Like EOS is up, like it's up from when I sold it, you know, but it's way down. I think you guys showed that in the last Moon Gang. It's way down versus Bitcoin, and so that's its true performance, really. Because Bitcoin is essentially like, you know, it's the whatever you want to call it, the I guess the beta, or I can't remember the terminology, but it's essentially the standard for the cycle. If you can beat it, right? That's the goal, is to beat Bitcoin. If you're gonna dabble in alts, like you gotta basically beat Bitcoin and accumulate more Bitcoin, or accumulate more ETH, right? Whatever your ultimate goal is. But what I'm actually some of the guys in the chat here, I think, want us to talk about like CEL moon math and stuff like that as well. But I'd like to hear your guys' charts on CEL and
$1 CEL.
You think it's going to go to $1?
No, I don't know.
Just reverse hopium. Like, what would you call that? Like, we're gonna go bear today. Just flip everyone the opposite. But like,
all right, you guys, if we conspire together to dump the CEL price, and then we can buy all the CEL for ourselves.
Just buy it back at whatever low price.
Price.
I know you're doing some charts on CEL, looking at crypto. Like, what I'm actually going to be doing myself is I'm actually working, now that I've done the Bitcoin index, I'm actually working on a CEL token index. And what I'm going to factor in, because right now, like the person that I trust the most, their opinion on Celsius, as far as from a data standpoint, is Joshua. Like, I don't know, like Joshua was on here recently on this channel, and like he's very knowledgeable. He's got the background, you know, with data science and everything. And like what he did, I really liked, is he made a probability for CEL token. So instead of saying like CEL's going to go to 100, or CEL's going to go to $20, or CEL's going to go to $300, which I mean we all do, and it's fun to do. I think it's more valuable to look at probabilities, because like, yeah, anyways, you can look into what Joshua has done, and he basically had, I believe it was between $20 and $70 was the bell curve, and that's where like the majority of the price fell by the end of the year. But that doesn't mean it's not possible for it to go to 100. It just means the probability based on current data today is showing that it's low probability of it getting there today based on current data. But say we have one of these massive partnerships, or we have one of these huge announcements, or we have like the equity round go, or we have like all of a sudden they start marketing like crazy, you know, users growth, like AUM shoots up, then that bell curve will get slided along, and then maybe the middle of the bell curve will be $100 CEL. So when you're thinking about moon math, think about probabilities based on current data and how that's changing over time. But right now, like I would agree with what Joshua's, I mean, I can't argue with Joshua's data, because it's data, and he's way more knowledgeable than me on putting that stuff together. And what he has for his bell curve, you can look it up on his Twitter, is basically he has $20 to $70 range for CEL token, I believe. So that's for me what I would kind of base your ballpark number on currently. But it could go higher, right? It could definitely go higher. And last year, when all of us were picking CEL token, we were all wrong. Like I thought it would go to like 220 or something like that. It went to over $5. The only one that was right was dollar cost. So like it's not always just based on data. Like there's a lot of things you got to factor in with these price predictions. You got like looking at crypto, you're awesome with the charts. That's something I don't know how to do that at all. So like when you look at the charts, what do you look at? Like what do you think the price is going to go to for you guys?
Yeah, it's a good question. So for what I look at, this is just for the entire altcoin market cap. The main weight I have in terms of how much an altcoin can appreciate is I look at the total 2 market cap, because total 2 takes the crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin. So theoretically, if you, let's say, made like a 10x move on Celsius, that also implies the market of all the altcoins in the market's going to increase by a certain amount as well. So if you assume, let's say, during the remainder of this cycle that altcoins basically do like a 5 to 10x on price, that puts the total to market cap today, which is actually just shy of a trillion dollars. That puts it around anywhere from a 5 to 10 trillion market cap on altcoins. So if it, let's say, performs like performs at the same rate that total 2 is growing, you're basically multiplying like in the average case, like another 5 to 10x multiple on the price. But it's hard to like have, let's say, personally, I personally don't think you're gonna see like a like $100 sell. That's just my view on it. I don't think you're gonna hit multi-hundred, but I think you are gonna hit still really high price targets, because you have to kind of see basically what the whole altcoin market itself is doing, because basically another 5x across every altcoin in the market puts it at 5 trillion, and then plus Bitcoin, you're looking at like 7 trillion across the entire market. And it all just kind of comes down to like, there's only so much economic mass you're going to get into the market this cycle. So I think basically somewhere close to like $100, I think is like pretty. I think that's like a pretty reasonable.
If we get an extended cycle a little bit.
For what time though? For what time frame?
Into like
this
early, into early next year,
or the whole bull market.
Like the peak of the market cycle.
This year.
Like end of the year.
I don't know what 2022 and 2023 is going to do, but I just look at like if you do basically a 10x, which at current price level, what is it, like $7 right now? That puts it like
$6
okay.
roughly.
So, yeah,
because it goes up fast when it moves, obviously though.
Yeah, it does. So you basically have, let's say, like a $70. This is not fun. I don't know if it's going to hit these price targets, by the way. I'm just thinking like rationally this could definitely happen. So let's say you hit like $70 on CEL token. That's about like a 10x from current price levels. Then that means like the rest of the altcoin market is very likely to do something like a 5x. And the reason like why I know the rest of the altcoin market will at least do like a 5x is if you look at something like Litecoin, you'll probably see like a $1,500 Litecoin this cycle or something like that, which is about a 5x from current price levels. So that basically puts the total to market cap, which excludes Bitcoin, around like a 6 to 7 trillion market cap. And I honestly, I don't expect, personally, this is just me, I don't think total 2 is going to go above 10 trillion this cycle, because like it would be the most insanely like overvalued bubble ever, because like you have
the S&P is 35 trillion, so like we would be getting close to a third of the S&P 500.
Yeah,
we're already at 2 trillion, and like the last, so 2017 the peak was 830 billion. We're already at 2 trillion. And right now, like I just looked on CoinMarketCap, we just went below 50% dominance. So like Bitcoin is 1 trillion and you know, alts are a trillion right now. So like what you're saying, like I'm trying to understand exactly what you're saying, and I think I do. You're basically saying that if CEL 10x's and the rest of the alts 5x, so right now the alts are worth 1 trillion combined. So if they 5x from here, that'd be a $5 trillion, and say Bitcoin's worth 3 trillion, that's 8 trillion, right? Yeah. So like because what's like the peak of this market cycle, right? Is anywhere between 2 to 10 trillion. Well, it's not 2 trillion, because we're at 2 trillion right now. It's probably going to be between 4 and 10 trillion is going to be the peak of the cycle. 10 trillion seems very overextended.
Yeah,
like I think 4 to 8 is. I mean, I personally, I believe 5 to 8. That's where I believe we're going to hit a peak. And if we hit 8, that's basically a 10x from last market cycle for the total market cap of all the cryptos. So I could totally see a 5 to 8 trillion dollar overall cap for all of crypto, and probably Bitcoin is going to be less than 50% of that, because we're at 50 and we're trending down.
It's trending towards 30 long term. Bitcoin. So I think you guys are kind of right on stuff, but it's, I mean, this is my gut feeling alone. I had to put the spacesuit on for this shit.
You're talking bear on CEL. I know you're joking around, but you're wearing a moon suit and you're talking.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys were putting such disrespect on this moon math right now that I was like, oh no, I got to put the suit on. Like I couldn't believe some of the shit I was hearing coming out of your mouths.
No, man, I'm super bullish on CEL token, man. Like I'm just basically telling what Joshua said, right? And I think his stuff is just numbers.
No, his stuff's really accurate, but I think towards the end of the year it becomes a little bit inaccurate. Maybe
his stuff will shift though. Like I think it's going to shift. Like I don't think the range is going to be where he has it now, because like you said, like we're gonna see a lot of crazy announcements this year for Celsius, and we can go into like some of the stuff we speculate on what's going to happen. But first, let's hear Dollar Costa's take on.
All right, so we're pretty much this cycle, right? My stomach's really, what I'm really feeling is 300,000 per BTC, right? That's the top. Basically.
Well, that's what Willie was saying, and he's one of the top analysts in crypto, and he watches on-chain stuff daily. So,
and that's crazy too, because I mean, like I've been saying, you can ask Charlie this. I've been saying this privately to us for a while now, and even from September of last year. When we did the first course, I mean, I have recordings of all this stuff. When I was saying this, I had a $400,000 top for BTC in terms of where I thought we'd go. And if we just look at like the coin market caps, like watch, let me pull it up.
Personally, I think 120 to 240. But I tend to be wrong to the upside. Like my calls tend to be usually when I call stuff, it's usually short of the market. So, but I do think Bitcoin 120 to 240 is it's a big range, but that's kind of the range I'm thinking. But last time with CEL I was wrong too. So I'm a little bit more conservative because I'd rather sell a little bit too early than go down with the ship. But you also don't want to sell at 120 if we're going to 300K. So that's where the index comes in, right?
Right. So even if I was just being conservative with BTC and just saying it just goes to a quarter of $1 million, right? That would put BTC alone at $5 trillion. And if that's $5 trillion and it's a third, that means the whole market cap is 15 trillion. Yeah,
man. Well, with this money printing, we could see it. That's the thing. Yeah. Like it depends on how much money printing we get, right? But anyways, I'll let you finish your.
Yeah, so that's a $15 trillion market cap, and as well as with that much money sloshing around, the multiples on the altcoins are drastic. Because right now, if you just look at the ETH dominance, basically it's 50%. I mean, I know it's 47 point some change or whatever, but it's 50%. So what's going to happen is like Bitcoin's price is going to keep going up and up and up, more interest. What's going to happen is more money is going to flow. We're probably going to see an exodus of money out of the bond market into the crypto market, as well as we're going to start seeing money leave the gold market. That's where the money comes from. We're probably going to start seeing some people fucking finally just like, okay, I'm out, done, and start selling silver and gold. Probably there still will be people buying it up, but I'm saying there's like basically all the inflows that should be going. So if you just look at it demographically, the net inflows that should be happening right now from the millennials that are starting to get into like around my age, like I'm 30 right now, it's not like, oh shit, Uni just hit 40. God damn, what'd I say? Shoo! The Oracle hits again. Shoo! Insane. Anyway,
You's doing really well, eh? Yeah, like
I think it started at 35 when we do the stream.
When we started streaming, geez, we're at the beginning we were talking about Uni quite a bit and we pumped it. But man, like gold is definitely bleeding to Bitcoin. Like there's tons of data showing that, there's tons of charts showing that. It's not just bleeding to Bitcoin, but gold's bleeding to many things. There's actually a really good debate between Michael Saylor and one of the main gold guys recently, and it was pretty intense. Good points on both sides, actually. I thought the guy that was defending gold did actually extremely good job. But anyways, continue.
Yeah. So with all that jazz, though, that means like, I mean, at least, all right. Let's just go back to Celsius for a second. Basically, my bare minimum is 120 for this year, but realistically, it's probably somewhere in the 160 to 180 range for this year. That's what I think. And when we hit those numbers, it's going to be the last month or two of the year. Basically, it's not going to be like sustained for a while. Next year, if the market continues into next year, because that's when I think we hit these crazy prices. Because I think tops we maybe hit like 150, 160 per Bitcoin this year, and then we hit into the $250,000 range for next year. And that's when we probably get like the top. I think my top for Celsius is probably $400 for CEL token.
Well, the thing is, man, like we didn't
if that happens with
if the overall market cap goes to 15, if all of crypto goes to 15 trillion, then yeah, I think Celsius is going to be extremely high. Like the thing is though, like if you think about last year, this is what a lot of people are getting impatient about, is because we've been trading sideways somewhat for the first few months of the year, but people forget that last year Celsius didn't start moving until about this time.
Yeah,
it started to move. Like if you look at the chart, like most of the gains for Celsius token were in the last three. Well, all the gains were pretty much in the last 3 quarters of last year. Like where was the price? It was basically fluctuating, and we start. I know we started moving around like April. I believe it was actually this month that we started to move, and that's when I first got in. And then I remember last year after September, we started to ramp up because I think September we broke $1, and then we basically shot up to 6 by the end of the year. So we had a 6x basically in the last like 3 months of the year last year.
Right. So it's let me look at something else. So look at this. Yeah, it's nothing. Wait, let me just.
One of the things that I'm gonna be working on the next probably month here is an index for CEL token, and what I'm gonna factor in, which is gonna probably I'm probably gonna work with Joshua, like because he's able to do a lot more advanced things than I am. But like my idea is to somehow work with him or give him information so he does it, to factor in other factors besides so right now what a lot of people have done is they've used the active wallets, or they've used it's called active wallets or funded accounts, that growth rate compared to the CEL token price as one metric to chart pricing. And then also a lot of people have used or not a lot of people, very few people, a couple of people have done this, but mainly Joshua, but as far as using the buybacks. So the thing about the buybacks as a metric compared to the CEL token price is buybacks take into account almost everything. So the buyback each week, the growth rate of the buyback, it takes into consideration the active user growth. It takes into consideration the Bitcoin growth of deposits. It takes into consideration the assets that are earning its CEL token as a percentage. Right. It takes into consideration the overall AUM. All of those growth metrics are factored into the buyback growth metric. So what I'm planning on using for myself, if I end up doing this index, is I'm going to use the buyback as probably 40% or something of the index as of the weighting. But you have to factor in the sell side. That's just the buy side of the equation. So what you have to factor in is you have to factor in the wallet hodl, or the whale hodl rate. So what I plan on doing is looking at the top 100 named accounts for CEL token that actually hold probably I don't even know what percentage, but a huge percentage of the supply, and a lot of them are up a lot on their money. So I'm going to look at basically I'm going to combine the top 100 named accounts, and I'm going to look at on a weekly basis how much they're selling and kind of how they're hodling, because that has to be factored in. Because the more that they take profits, obviously, the more it's going to dampen the buy pressure from the buybacks and new users coming on. So I'm going to probably factor in the whale hodl rate as a percentage of whatever, 30%. But the other thing to factor in is scarcity. So I was looking at a metric for scarcity on CEL token, and the best metric I've seen is looking at the CEL token outside the app. So how much CEL token are outside the app per active wallet? So you can actually look at, and that's telling you scarcity, because it's as new users join the network, this metric would actually also factor in the user growth, the active wallets, because what it's saying is as users are coming in, it's basically, this metric would tell you adoption and it would tell you scarcity, because on the scarcity side, how many CEL token are available per CEL outside the app is how you measure scarcity. But also it's telling you adoption, because it's telling you how many CEL tokens are being stored in the app. So if you combine the whale hodl rate, the scarcity metric to do with CEL tokens outside the app per active wallet, plus the buybacks, you combine those three together, I believe you'll have the best way of measuring the CEL token appreciation over time, and kind of giving us a gauge of where we can get to. Because it does depend on how much these whales sell.
Yeah, and people forget this part right here too, is how much BTC is going to be on Celsius as well.
It's going to be crazy amounts, but that's all factored in the buyback metric, right? The BTC growth rate, the buyback is a better metric, because it's also telling you, it's not just telling you how much the buyback takes into consideration the BTC growth on the app, but it also takes into consideration what percentage of those BTC assets are earning its CEL token. That's why the buyback is a better metric for me than the BTC is stored in the app.
Right. I just use that more of a way. That's how that's what I use is essentially to make a prediction in order to see where it's going, because then I can then from there I can know what the buyback's going to be. But as an indicator,
you're using it though. You're using it in more advanced ways, because what you're using it as like you're taking this is my understanding of what you're doing. You're looking at it differently, because you're looking at, okay, the Bitcoin. What kind of weight does that give Celsius as a company and as a central reserve bank within the crypto ecosystem, and like what can they do with that funds, and how can they bully around the the participants in the network? And it's the same thing with like them becoming a whale in like say SNX or these other or Aave or whatever company, right, or whatever ecosystem. Like that's a different way of looking at it. Like that's more. It's harder to see. The reason why I don't look at these as much is because these things are hard to quantify. I can't quantify it. Right? I'm trying to distill everything down to a number, which sometimes doesn't work. Right? It just doesn't work.
But that's why that's the magic of all of us working together, is because we can then see all the angles of it. Like one thing that I've been noticing, what Celsius is either intentionally or unintentionally, is Celsius is becoming one of the biggest holders in all these DeFi projects. But if you look at like a lot of these DJ project coins, right, they're all governance tokens in a way. So what's going to happen eventually, Celsius is going to have a shit ton of voting power. And basically the one problem we're having why Celsius hasn't pumped yet is basically because the company has to have a certain amount of revenue to buy up the token. If the price increases a lot on the token, then that means more USD value that they need to buy the token, right? But if they can generate more yield because right now all the revenue is being used to just buy up the token for the buyback, right? But the token itself doesn't generate much yield outside of itself. So what I think the master plan is technically to use all these DeFi tokens to then force them to essentially create a Celsius pools across all these decentralized assets, and effectively force yield for it to yield itself as well, which then they can afford to then maybe not use as much as the money to use the buybacks or something, or just play around with the numbers basically, and that way the price can pump up significantly faster and higher. And I think that's what's going to be happening.
Yeah, that's a fourth thing to potentially add into the index, is like what percentage of the CEL treasury is being monetized, because the more a percentage of the CEL treasury that's being monetized, the higher the CEL token price can go without them having to lower the interest rate on CEL token. Because if they lower that interest rate, that's going to significantly hurt the adoption of CEL token. So I think that's like what you just said is, I don't know how. I would have to get the data for that or work with Joshua, but like basically if we could factor in those four things, right? The CEL treasury, how much are they yielding on the CEL treasury, combining with the scarcity of the token and the adoption of the token, with the buybacks and with the whale sell pressure, those four things combined, I think gives us the best projections for Celsius moving forward. But like you said, these ecosystems and how Celsius is able to basically become like a massive aggregator of value for all these ecosystems and just funnel it all to Celsius network and the token. And I also think CEL token, like the thing about CEL token and why I plan on holding it for a long time is because I believe that there's going to be way more utility within the network of Celsius. Like right now you can earn yield, you can get discounts on your loans, but I think this is just the tip of the spear. Like I think that they're going to add so much utility to the CEL token. And it's not just going to be about pumping. It's not just going to be about, CEL token going up. That's not going to be the sole reason to hold it. There's going to be all sorts of financial advantages long-term for holding the CEL token. Like it's going to give you leverage in all sorts of other ways that's going to help your financial future. And give you discounts on things and give you, whatever else you're doing. Like this is, I'm talking like 3 to 10 year timeframes, right? But if you can accumulate CEL now, who knows what Alex Mashinsky is going to innovate? Like it's crazy, man. Like they're going to have in-app swaps for free coming up here. Like you guys, I don't think you guys were in the Kevin's community call, but Alex basically said that community call was insane. Alex said they're going after Coinbase and they're going after Binance by offering in-app swaps for free.
Yep.
Like they want to steal their market share. They don't care. They're not trying to make money on that. They're just trying to basically funnel users into the CEL app and have them. They can be in there and trade if they want, and just for free and not take any fees. Like you can imagine someone that's trading on Binance or trading on CoinSquare. Why would you stay there? Because you can go to Celsius, you can do free trades, And now any tokens or any coins you have in your wallet that you're not trading with are earning a yield. Like, why would you stay with Binance or CoinSquare once they fully develop this in-app swap for free? I mean, obviously there's more pairs. Like, I guess with Binance and CoinSquare, I guess there's more pairs and more liquidity. But I think Celsius is going to bring that to the app somehow. Like, they're innovating like crazy with these different utility features that are coming.
No, definitely. I mean, like long term, like my long term price target for the token on the next cycle. This is barring that they don't fuck something up, right? And they're still a good company. It's like $1,400 per token next cycle. It says that's definitely going to hit.
Well, that's the reason why I put my name as 1 trillion CEL is because I truly believe the Celsius market cap can hit $1 trillion at some point in our lifetime. I truly believe CEL token. Bitcoin hit $1 trillion. It's the first one. Obviously, ETH is going to get to $1 trillion. I mean, there's going to be multiple cryptos that'll hit $1 trillion. And I truly believe Celsius has a chance in our lifetime in the next 10 years, 20 years of being $1 trillion crypto. And that's why my name is 1 trillion CEL. Is because I think it can get there, and it's going to require hundreds of billions of dollars in AUM and a whole ecosystem around the coin, and massive utility, and like probably 10 to 100 million users, or maybe not 100, but 10 to 50 million users. But I think, like you said, next market cycle, Celsius could hit crazy levels, and I'd have to do the math again, but at 1 trillion market cap, and that's on Coin Market Cap, right? Because they stuff some of the circulating supply. But like I think you know what, actually, dollar cost, you might be bang on. I think at $100 trillion market cap, it's $1,400. Actually, remember that now. You're basically your number is basically a $1 trillion market cap for CEL token.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure on that, because there's let me do the math on that. There's 700 million tokens. If you did the whole supply, so take 1 million, or take 1 trillion and divide it by 700 million. You should get 140 or 1,400.
So here, I'll do it for you right now.
And I think this is totally possible in a lifetime. It sounds like crazy moon math right now, but give it 5-10 years and you'll be surprised. Let's see here, 700.
But $1,400.
$1,428.
God damn, on the money, son. God damn, man.
So that's taking into consideration the entire supply, which we should be, because, well, actually on CoinMarketCap, you could hit $1,400 and only have a $500 billion market cap.
Yo, that was off the dome too, right there. That was off the dome, bro.
So at a $500 billion market cap, basically right now, what's ETH's market cap?
200.
It's like
200 and
290
pleb dollars.
Yeah, so 300 billion, right? If CEL token had the same market cap as ETH right now, it could, on Coin Market Cap, it would be a $1,000 coin.
Let's see.
What is the market cap on Coinbase right now? Because whatever they get this cycle, you could probably realistically.
And ETH is going to go higher than where it is right now.
Look at that. That's so possible, dude. Like, before the end of this market ends, everything in the top 20 is going to be 100 billion plus.
Like, Celsius's market cap is only 1.5 billion right now on Coin Market Cap. So
this is on Coin Market. This is on CoinGecko. This is on CoinGecko shit. Like, if you base this off of Coin Market Cap stuff, then this number would be lower. Actually, like, it's almost like they're counting it like this on Coin Market Cap. Like, they're counting it like this. Like,
okay, even if Celsius gets to Dogecoin's market cap, right? That's okay. That's okay. That's a 20 like 2x from where it's at right now, just to get to Dogecoin.
What's Dogecoin's market cap?
It's like 35 billion.
Yeah, 35.
Okay, 35 billion. Oh my God, we're low. Hold it. Wait, what? No, that's not right.
Like Celsius is ranked right now. It's so absurdly undervalued. It's ranked 76 on CoinMarketCap. Like, there's no way there's 75 projects that are better than Celsius, that have a better founder, that have a team of 260 people. That have basically $17 billion of AUM. Like, it's just. Yeah, they're so clearly undervalued just based on the fact there's no way there's 75 projects. I'd be surprised right now if there's 20 projects that are better than Celsius. at this current point that have actually developed more than what they've created? I mean, there might be 20. There might be 20. I mean, Celsius is a top 25 coin. There's no doubt about that. Right
likely
now,
not,
today.
since there's basically still crap in the top 20. So I would say there's definitely, because like let's be realistic here. Like even on the top, like for coins that are, let's say, not good in the top 20 . So I'm going to give a pass. We
can go through them all. Even SNX is not a 70 whatever rank. Like they should be a top.
They should be
undervalued.
Super undervalued. Okay, Bitcoin's awesome. Ethereum awesome. Binance Coin. Yeah, it's utility. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
XRP will. It doesn't die, man. XRP doesn't die. It just it comes back. It comes back
right.
No matter what.
Yeah. I'll leave it alone. Okay, Tether. Okay. Cardano. Okay, Dogecoin. My boy.
No.
Yeah. What? Nani?
It's
not sustainable. Like,
do not say that. No, you cannot. Do not talk bad about Doge.
But where is Doge? Wait. Where's Dogecoin going to be?
Dogecoin to Bitcoin. Dogecoin to Bitcoin is going to lose like 99% of its value. I just know that I know how the trading pair works.
Well, where was Dogecoin at the bottom of the bear market? Like it must have been
fractions of pennies.
It must have been so low compared to Bitcoin. Like it's going to lose 90% of its value during the bear market.
It's going to lose like 99.
Because it's all retail money, man. It's short-term thinking retail money.
I'm not trying to talk shit. Like whoever made money on it, like good. Like that's great.
Dogecoin is a top. What are they? They're a top 100 coin, I guess. Yeah, they're not a top 7.
It's just the historically it makes these really big moves versus Bitcoin, and it crashes back to its historical support zone every single time. So like based on previous trends that have already happened like 20 times on Dogecoin, it is going to lose like 99, like really close. It's going to lose over 90% of its valuation versus Bitcoin. It really does not like, I mean, it's a great meme, but there's definitely better stuff than like Dogecoin for sure.
All right, so Doge, whatever, but it deserves to be there because it's being talked everywhere, so it does have some utility for pump and dumping. Perfect. Okay, Polkadot for show, Litecoin for show, Uniswap for sure.
Bitcoin Cash is like XRP. It's just not going to die. It's probably not going to die.
It's probably not going to die.
No, it's got too much institutional money in terms of they're putting it passively to buy in there. Which is kind of
it's also just the name. It's just the fact that it has Bitcoin in the name. It just people get confused with it, or who knows why people buy. I have no idea who's holding it, but people are.
Okay, so Chainlink good, even though I do have some problems with it later on in the market.
Yeah, it's the Chainlink is for sure a top 10 though.
Yeah, for sure.
They're a top 15, top 10 for sure.
USDC, this is the best stable coin in the market for this cycle.
That's the one I use. I use only USDC.
Next cycle, this is going to be shit. I think there's going to be political crap with this coin. But for right now, it's
Tether's looking better though. Tether's looking more legit. Like after all this stuff has come out, Tether's actually seems like it's fully backed and it seems like it's regulated. And it seems. I was so scared to hold it before. I was so scared to hold it. Now I'm not scared to hold Tether anymore.
The one thing that cracks me up about Tether though, it's got a Superman symbol for the fucking thing. That's really funny. Okay,
I don't know anything about VeChain, but I don't think
it's
a top. It's not a top 20 coin. It's not. It's a top 50, maybe top 75. It should be. It should be around. It should be around like 70 to 60 range.
Definitely.
Solana's a top 20 coin.
Stellar, it's like I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but they're over here being like they're the backbone of like the digital currency for fucking the Ukraine. For some reason, I don't know how they got that. So it's like they're going to be there since this is the first real.
Well, their founder's legit, like because he created XRP and Stellar, and I don't know. He has a lot of connections and stuff with IBM and things.
Beta Network, yes, should be here. This is growing, even though it's completely fucking owned by Google again. So good luck, you guys. Then you got Filecoin.
Filecoin
should not be here.
Yeah, it's
trash.
It's totally pumped up by VC investors. Like it's a VC investor coin, basically.
Yeah, and Tron.
No.
Wrap Bitcoin. Eventually, you won't even need this. Hopefully, you can just natively swap the assets in there. But still, I don't count this anyway. Terra, I reserve. Well, actually, that's a top 20 basically.
I don't know anything about Terra. I know zero.
Yeah, I don't know who even backed it or nothing. I mean, shit, I'll look into it right now. Let's see.
Was looking at crypto, like, do you know about all these coins? Like, I don't know how you can possibly know about all these coins. Like,
I don't truthfully. I have like 10. I have 10 that I know really well.
Doge, Monocoin, Monero.
Monero.
It's not a Monero.
No, Monero has a use case though. Like, the thing about
definitely.
Monero's outperforming. Like,
Monero's a top 25, top 30 coin.
It's a top 25. Monero is like, it's the strongest performing proof of work coin. So
it has legit value. It actually has a use case.
It's gonna be multi-$1,000 this cycle, definitely. Like,
definitely.
It's top. Yeah, it's a legit coin. Neo is a joke. I don't know why they're. I mean, they're just. Yeah.
It's trash. I reserve judgment on this one. Maybe.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's basically a coin for this.
You talked about it a bit. You said it's being propped up by a specific geographic. What you said it's
South Korea. South Korea controls this entire thing, and then it's the biggest social media platform. It controls all the social. Imagine if like you had a company that controlled Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and everything like that, and Snapchat, and then on top of that, owned Uber as well, and Uber Eats and everything like that, and Airbnb. that's how powerful that company is inside of South Korea, and then this is their currency that they're trying to make into like international payments. So this is essentially like this is kind of a big deal actually for South Korea.
It came out of nowhere though. Like, it's only been around for a few months, hasn't it? Or like it just shot in the top 50 only the last few months. I never saw it on CoinMarketCap.
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, it creeped up on me too, but then I did some research into it, and I guess it's been around for a while. But it was like if there's no token, I don't care for the most part, because like there's no upside. Because EOS, no. Yes.
What is IOTA? IOTA is like
trash.
Like it's garbage, but like a lot of people are still invested in it. Like, it still has $5 billion, $6 billion. Like,
I literally
EOS and IOTA should go to like not zero, but they should not be in the top 50 at this point.
Oh, this is sad. Bitfinex. Wow, really though? Binance.
Like, IOTA's been promising stuff for years. Like, I don't actively follow them, and I'm sure there's some people that are super involved in it. But like the Internet of Things, like, is it really like it's just not. I don't know.
Basically, to me, what I see in terms of exchanges, it just looks like a bunch of like Asian countries propping this up.
Maybe probably it has low volume or something. It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's all Asian exchanges. I mean, look at this. Asian, Nova, Huobi, CoinEx.
Like, when do you see a headline, or when do you see any YouTube channel like when's the last time any of the major YouTube channels talked about EOS or IOTA? like they just don't talk about these coins anymore, and they're just not doing anything. I don't. They stick around somehow. Cosmos is legit.
That's a good one.
Aave's legit.
Aave's really good. That's going to do really well.
And Aave's performed extremely well this cycle.
Yeah, it's breaking out.
Aave's a top 25 coin.
Yeah, the chart looks really good. It's on a surge.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the chart is about to explode on Aave.
Dude, that's just a fucking morning wood. Jesus Christ.
The thing about Aave I noticed is it'll pump, but then it actually sustains on the dumps. That's when you really tell it's a legit coin. Like, same thing with Celsius, right? Like, it'll pump, but it will sustain on the dumps. Like, it doesn't have this crazy corrections that a lot of coins have. And Aave has had multiple pumps, and it doesn't seem like it necessarily goes with the overall market trend too, which is usually a good sign when a coin doesn't always go with the market trend. Like SNX, Aave, CEL, they don't always pump when the overall market's pumping. There's many other projects that do that, but yeah, Aave's legit for sure.
Yeah, I've been just passively dollar cost averaging into it. Just never turned off my recurring purchases. I just look at it. This is gonna be something I'm just gonna sell way later on for thousands and thousands of dollars each. Just fucking easy. I'll probably buy it with my Aave money. I'll probably buy like something stupid like Lamborghini or something off of it. Just something dumb. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm gonna do.
I want Aave to do well. Like, I want a lot of these DeFi to do well because it's really good for Celsius too. But yeah, Aave is legit for sure.
Yeah, I've been buying this thing since $30. Shout out to all my Q4 guys. Cha-ching.
15x. Yeah, solid.
Sitting sick in it. Aave powered by Chainlink? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, fuck, everything's powered by Chainlink. That's why I think it's so dangerous. It's like we're the most descent. Oh my, is that Fast Moon? Are we really? What the fuck? Oh my god! No.
Binance does not care, man. They'll take money from anyone.
Dude,
they do not discriminate. Oh, this is CoinGecko. This is
CoinGecko. Yeah, dude.
Oh man,
wow.
Someone needs to buy CoinGecko, man. Like Celsius needs to buy CoinGecko, or Celsius could maybe buy CoinGecko after. Well, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, EOS needs to buy CoinGecko.
Yeah.
Someone needs to buy CoinGecko.
In terms of the DEX, not the DEXs, I'm sorry. In terms of the CoinMarketCap sites, Nomics is the best one. In terms, like, actually, their guys actually the main dude of that exchange is a really good guy actually. So he's actually come on even on some Hexagon streams. Pretty cool dude. The dude's legit as fuck, man. He just like, I just care for the real data, no bullshit. Just stop all this gatekeeping crap.
The problem is, I agree with you. Nomics seems to be like the most legit one, but if you look at the actual traffic flow to these sites, man,
yeah,
like it's ridiculous. Like CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap have like a 95% market share.
Yep.
Like there's only I think it's 1 or 2 million users that go to all the other ones combined, and these ones get like 50 million.
I'll pump it.
Yeah, but Nomics, yeah, it's definitely a good one.
I mean, it's so easy. So this is trash.
PancakeSwap is, I mean, Bitcoin SV is garbage. BitTorrent is, I haven't looked into it, but I'm assuming it's garbage. This is a Tron project. BitTorrent is a Tron project, I believe. Don't they own it?
They bought it. They bought it.
They own it.
They bought it. Yeah. They bought it. Crypto. They deserve their spot. It's just,
No, they actually have products and they actually have a business model. I mean, Crypto.com. Remember they were a top 10 though.
Oh yeah, for a while. I was surprised
when we were talking like on these podcasts, like whatever 9 months ago with you guys, and you were talking about how they're going to tank once they get taken off the ads on Binance. They sure tank though. Like they're definitely down, but they're still legit. Like, but they were a top 10. When they were top 10, they were way overvalued. They're a top 50, maybe. They're top 50 probably.
I really wish I could take a 10x long on some of my calls from back in the day, bro. I'd be way richer. Can you imagine if you could just take a bet on some of the stuff? Like if you could say,
and then 10x what you've already done. Like
yeah.
So
this is that's an exchange token. Good stuff.
Yeah.
The stable coin.
Exchange tokens will actually do decent because they have real utility.
It's a business. It's actually a business.
Like these are actually, and Binance has proved that. I mean, theirs is more than just exchange, but they've proved that exchange tokens, with a good exchange, they'll actually hold their value.
So this is the owner of Solana, basically. This right here.
Right. Oh, there you go. It's also connected to Solana, so there's a lot of possibilities there. So that coin could do decent just because Solana's going to do well.
Ethereum Classic. The only reason I don't discount this off is just because the miners are all going to jump on Ethereum Classic. So Ethereum Classic eventually is going to do some stupid pump, like stupid, but it's going
like as a long-term hold. Like who's long-term holding Ethereum Classic at this point? Like I don't get that. Doesn't make any sense. Like given what Ethereum's doing and going to do, and the market share and the network effects and the Lindy, I just don't see like Ethereum Classic. Like it could pump in the short term when these miners like. But long term, it just makes no sense to hold them at this point.
Yeah, ETC is its chart is dying versus Ethereum. It's just death.
Kusama is the best performer, I think, this year. Over the last year.
Kusama's really good. Yeah, Kusama's a phenomenal performer.
I was actually comparing Kusama's appreciation to CEL token, and Kusama, I believe, has outperformed from the basement. Like if you actually look at Kusama from the absolute basement, it was $1 less than a year ago.
Oh yeah. If we're talking about overall gains,
if you're looking at just straight gains, like from the absolute basement, Kusama I think is comparable with CEL. Because CEL was the best performer last year, but I think if you go from a year from today, Kusama might be the best performer in all of crypto. And actually, Theta is up there too. Theta is one of the best performers.
Yeah, if we say at least
straight X's.
Yeah, straight X's. Yeah, Kusama's probably the best.
Kusama and Theta, I think.
In terms of for this year, it's probably Solana. Is actually the
Solana,
highest.
I could see that.
It basically did a 40x since January.
Jeez.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
42. Man. Yeah, it did pretty well. Avalanche, trash. Compound is
Algorand is always Algorand.
Oh, yes,
and
yeah.
we miss Tezos is legit, but they're
Oh,
Tezos is legit.
that's how much of a ghost chain. I didn't even notice it.
But Tezos is like they're not a top. They're kind of where they should be. Like they're not as good as Cosmos. They're not as good as
What
They're better than EOS probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Well, actually, there's actually so I don't even hold Tezos, like I'm saying this, but there's actually more network usage on Tezos than there is basically on everything except like Ethereum in the top 10. They actually have a lot of network usage. The problem with Tezos is their foundation is so bad at marketing, like so terrible, so awful at marketing that it just gets no recognition at all. But the chain itself is actually really good, gets a lot of usage, but the marketing is a serious problem. And you see that, like you see, because the value for all this stuff, it all boils down to belief. And ADA, for example, which has yet to have smart contracts. More people, I mean, I believe way more in Cardano than I do in Tezos, hands down. And ADA doesn't even have like the smart contract part yet, so it goes into the whole marketing aspect of it.
It definitely shows you, man, that raising money has nothing to do with what you end up accomplishing. Like Tezos and EOS were the top raisers, I think, for platforms. Like Tezos raised, I think it was like $600 million. Like besides EOS, I think they were the second largest. There's a couple ones that raised a lot of money, but it shows you it absolutely does not equate to where you end up performing as a token. Mm-hmm. Like there's no correlation because there just isn't. One that I want to get your guys' take on after we go through these all is Definity, because that's one that I think will end up being a top 10 coin because it's got so much money and hype behind it. It might be garbage, but it's been building for years, man. Like Tezos or Definity was being talked. It's the only one that hasn't come out from 2017 that was being talked about as far back as 2017, and they raised hundreds of millions of dollars. So I have no idea, but it's just one that it's going to shoot up. It's going to shoot up in the top 20 when it does go, just based on hype. We'll see if it sustains. But there's so many of these things, man. There's so many of these platforms. So Compound is legit.
Fucking the most legit of all, honestly.
I'm surprised Compound's dropped as low as 45, actually.
Yeah,
it's up 42% in the last.
There's a reason for that, but I'll get into that later. I'll probably say it in the course for legitimate reasons. This and Maker. Damn, I was so right on Maker. God damn.
Yeah, you did call Maker. You did call that.
What was Maker at last market cycle? I don't remember being in the thousands. I remember it being the hundreds.
Yeah, it probably was. Let me see.
I think
Maker's 10x. It's 10x in the last year.
Yeah, it peaked out like 1600 last cycle.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
it's not up. It's actually not up that much from last market cycle peak, but it's still up a lot from the bear market.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at this is when I was looking at Maker a lot. I didn't have the cash because I was like basically I was just at the time I was looking at Maker a lot, the whole ramp up, and I was like my money was better allocated into Celsius, which it was, so it was the right call. But this is the sort of thing. What happens is when like you got to make decisions, like you see a great deal, but the thing is like there's a better opportunity somewhere else. But this would have been a great hold because then I would have been able to make a ton of DAI myself, and then there hasn't been any liquidations from here to there, so actually I would have had a printing press of fucking DAI for myself. Should have been nice.
Yeah, the biggest thing with Maker is like I guess if you can get slashed or something, or what happens like with Maker, if something happens, if it doesn't maintain its peg, like doesn't that affect the people holding Maker token?
Yeah, so with DAI
because you're voting, you have like voting rights or something. Like
you have voting rights as well as you get paid interest for holding Maker. So if I look at Maker, let me go to the Maker to see the total market, the total supply. So right now it should be about 1 million.
We missed Hex on the when we went through all this.
I know it's because they don't show it because these guys are like
they still don't show, which is crazy.
Slimy fucks. Anyway,
at some point Hex needs to just like outright buy one of these. Buy CoinGecko.
Cash. Yeah, I would have done interesting things with Hex if I had the bankroll to do it and stuff. But
Man, ETH is killing it, man. ETH is up 20% this week.
Yeah.
But anyway, with Maker, right? There's about 1 million tokens right now. So basically, what happens is if you control, let's see, let me get the percentages correct. So let's just say you own 10% or 10,000 Maker tokens, right? Which would be about let's see what that would be, what that would cost today. That would cost about roughly what was it, 42 million? Yeah, 43 million dollars. At that point, then I would generate 1% of all the DAI token that gets created every year as my interest payments. And if you look at DAI, how much there is, that would be about currently there's about 3.5 billion dollars of DAI. So effectively, as this grows up, I would control 1% of the supply of the DAI that comes out of the newly fresh.
What do you mean by DAI? What do you mean by control? Like
so because if you control 1% of the supply of Maker of Maker, and you have it staked out as long with some ETH, you essentially print a ton of a DAI token as your interest payment, because you as a Maker holder.
Oh, you're getting like income stream from the overall network.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was seeing at the time.
Oh, okay. So it's because it's like it's almost like a DAO.
It is a DAO.
It's a DAO company that you're getting paid out as long as it maintains the peg and gains adoption. It's so as they print more DAI, a small percentage of that gets siphoned off to the people holding Maker.
Yeah, they get all. Actually, they make all of it. They make all of it. They make all of it. And so all the new DAI that gets created goes to the Maker holders.
But there's no fees though. Where do the fees come? Like how does because if people go and buy DAI, there's no fee associated with buying DAI. So how are they leveraging out the underlying assets? They're making money on the reserve assets basically.
Right, and there's also ETH as well that's staked, so it's multi-collateral now.
So they're almost like a bank then. They're almost like a bank.
They're a central bank. They're essentially a central bank that creates their own. Mm-hmm.
So you're okay. So by holding Maker, you're basically on the you have a small board seat on the central, the digital, the decentralized central reserve.
Correct.
It's a decentralized central reserve. That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's
and here's the other part of that too, is that that a lot of people don't put into consideration. So you do make a lot of income off the token, but here's the risk: is that when the peg breaks, your Maker is going to be printed out. So they're going to print more Maker and then dump the Maker on the market.
So it's actually like if the Federal Reserve was held accountable.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So like if they screwed up, they would be the ones on the hook. So it's an accountable, decentralized central reserve is what it is.
Correct.
Yep. All right. What other coins?
Well, I literally almost know everything about all these.
You know so much on all these coins. I just like to pick your guys' brain on all these things. I just had no time to go into all this stuff.
We're just trying to figure out. So if the top 20 market cap, what's number 20 at right now in terms of market cap?
It is 8.5 billion.
Okay, so I think if you assume basically 100 billion to break into the top 20 at the blow off top, and then what is Celsius at right now?
You think 100 billion to break into the top?
Yes.
Oh, top 20. Yeah. But no, 100 billion. That can't be right, because 100 billion would guarantee a 2 trillion for the top 20 alone. I would say you're going to need 50 billion to make in the top 20. Because right now, how much do you need to be in the top 20?
Yeah.
8 billion?
I was just using this number to basically figure out the number of like possible X's, because it comes out to a 40X, and then what is the price? $6.
Yeah, I think you need. I think that makes sense, right? So like if to be in a top 20 coin, if you need a 45 billion market cap, that would mean Celsius is going to Celsius to get a 45 billion would be a 30X. So stay at the peak of the cycle. The top 20 coins are all 45 billion or more. Celsius, based on the market cap right now, would need a 30X to be a top 20 coin.
$180 right there on the money. God damn.
A 40X puts it around like 250. So I guess the other thing is this would be pretty interesting, but because you know how you guys were just talking about the whole supply demand thing and the interest rates to keep a stable interest rates. Well, what if at the peak of the cycle they're just like, let's just allow for overextension and a blow off top?
That would be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's they once they have, this is the thing, right? This equity raise can change quite a bit, because it's going to give them the funds to kind of let the token probably run a little bit more, right? And once the treasury is fully, or even a huge percentage of it is monetized, plus they have more money on their balance sheet. Like I'm just speculating, but I think that there'll be a little bit more flexibility with letting the token run.
Yeah.
Just because they can support the interest rates, and it's good marketing, right? You got to factor that. They don't want it to crash, though. That's the thing, though, because the crash does hurt their users and does hurt. And the interesting thing that Alex and the team did, which is an obvious indicator, was when we hit $7 at like early January, they took off the 33% LTV for CEL token. They removed it from the app. So that tells you right there, they didn't want people taking a 33% LTV on Celsius when it ran from like $2 to $8 in like 6 weeks or 4 weeks, because if someone leveraged at 33% LTV at $8, they could potentially get liquidated. But Celsius recently put back on the 33% LTV a few weeks ago, or probably like a month ago. So that tells you right there, that's a straight up indicator. Buy when they put on the 33% LTV and take like sell, not sell, because you shouldn't be buying, you shouldn't be trading CEL token, you should be holding it. But don't leverage yourself when they remove the button.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that's not going to get priced in really this cycle. I mean, it is like a little bit, but as more and more people are aware of the strategy with loans, there's going to be some big money that's coming in later on in the bear market. It's basically just going to end up sucking up more AUM. Was kind of the main point I was going to make, just for the loan strategy, because there's really not many places right now you can access with Bitcoin and access loans and stuff, other than if you're maybe using like Ethereum or something like that. But that's going to be a pretty big market. Because what is the market cap of Coinbase right now is like what, 85 billion? And let's say during this market,
something like that.
Yeah, because I think basically Coinbase hitting something like 400 billion this cycle is like pretty reasonable, because that's like a 4x on the price. So if you assume like Celsius hits 400 billion like next cycle, and then you divide it by its current market cap, which is at like 2.4 billion, that's a 166x on the price, which puts it basically over $1,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the $1,400 thing is actually, it's like
it's not impossible. It's actually
very reasonable. It's like not even really like it's not really like an outrageous, like it seems outrageous now, but it's really not, because JP Morgan today, they're like a 500 billion market cap. So
oh my god, Jesus Christ.
And Celsius is very quickly going to climb up the rankings. It's a top 100 bank right now, in the US, and they're just going to climb so fast. And the thing is, like, $10,000 per CEL token is probably getting into the realm of impossibility, but because that's a 10 trillion, that'd be a $5 trillion market cap, which is just like, that'd be crazy. But I do think like a $500 to $1,000 CEL token is possible in our lifetime or in the next 10 years. Just based on everything, it just seems like how big of a player they're going to be in the space. Like, we're focusing on getting to 100, obviously, and even to 50 before that. But it's all possible. Like it is actually possible with Celsius, because of their AUM is just going to be so gigantic. What they're and one thing you're just saying, Wasabi. So we're looking at crypto. So with these loans, these people wanting these loans, like right now, there must be a lot of miners that are very profitable miners that have a big balance sheet that can take their Bitcoin, put it on Celsius, and do a low LTV loan.
Yeah.
And take a 1% loan. Like some of these miners, they could fund their stuff. Say they have like a crazy amount of Bitcoin in reserve. They don't want to sell at this market cycle till it gets closer to the peak, right? So they go to Celsius, they get a 25% or 33% LTV loan. They know the risk is very low, and they get a 1% loan, and now they can take all that freed up cash and they can fund their mining, and they don't have to sell any of their Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you some of these big depositors into Celsius are coming from miners. And Celsius is actually in the mining game now. Like they're actually starting to mine more and more Bitcoins. And so they're working with miners. And because Celsius actually has a partnership with one of the largest miners in the US, I think the second largest, they're connected into the web of the mining space. And so a lot of Bitcoin that's flooding into the app, I think, is actually coming from miners that don't want to sell, that want to free up cash.
Right.
Yeah. The other thing that's like, so this is why whenever I hear people saying like Bitcoin, I find it so ridiculous when people talk about like Bitcoin like dying, or it's so stupid. Like it's just dumb, because another way to look at it is let's look at real estate, for example, which is completely like real estate is whale play. There's certain tax benefits that go into real estate, and once people can start doing that with Bitcoin, which it's going to happen over the next couple of years, it's just like another whale play that's going to keep pumping the price and keep it like basically forever like one of the alpha pairs like in this market. And Celsius is like one of the infrastructure plays where you can do stuff like that. So the level of like trust around Bitcoin by then is going to be so. It's going to be so basically ingrained, even in just finance, that it's the most logical option if somebody wants to take a low risk loan during the bear market. Because people with actual money, they're not going to be doing this stuff with like altcoins. Like they want to actually have an asset that's time tested, and then something that they're at way lower risk to get liquidated on, like with the loans. And it's going to be mostly Bitcoin and maybe to a lesser extent like Ethereum, and then Celsius, because you get there's like certain benefits with CEL token as well. But I think those are I think it's going to be predominantly Bitcoin that people for the vast majority leverage into for low risk loans that they can then leverage into other assets.
Right.
Well, and the thing with Bitcoin is there's like a longer actual chart that people can look at. Yeah. So like these big companies, when they're borrowing against their Bitcoin, they can get a team of people that look at the on-chain analytics, and they can say like, here's the floor price for Bitcoin. And they can make sure they're nowhere close to that when they do these loans. Like there is a lot of data, like all those indicators I put together for trying to get close to the peak. There's actually a whole different group of indicators that are better for calling the bottoms. And it's actually a lot easier to call the bottom than is the top. And like these large whales and these like guys that are borrowing crazy amounts of money on their Bitcoin, like they're working with professionals that look at this stuff and that they can tell them like, look, the price is not going to go below here. You're safe. Like there's no chance. Like Bitcoin's going to basically, if it goes below here, it's probably going to zero, or it's over, or like something is massively wrong. So like barring like the craziest black swan, there are certain levels of Bitcoin that it's never going to go back to, and it kind of comes from the floor price that the miners set. So a large percentage of the floor price is actually related to the miners, every halvening, and also the scarcity. And then there's just certain patterns within the blockchain that are they just set a floor price. So anyways, there's lots of indicators for bottoms as well as tops, obviously.
Right. Yeah. So do you guys have any final words before we end this? We would just hit like 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm pretty tired. I've been talking too much here. So
no. It's good. I'm glad to talk, bro.
But man, just 3 hours just gone by. Like it's crazy. We're gonna be doing I'm looking forward to the 24-hour live stream.
Do you know when you're doing it?
Well, when we hit $10. So I don't know when that'll be, but I
could put it tomorrow if you want.
If you can get it to $10, then we'll be on stream, because it'll be a lot of fun. Because last time, like it was just pretty much you and me, because I was looking at crypto's back went out, and then Kevin couldn't get on the call, and then Joshua came on, but he only came on like for a bit to show his stuff, but he can be on the whole time. Like there's so many guys that we're going to get on this time. It's gonna be a lot of fun. The community is a lot bigger, and there's a lot more guys that can get on stream, and it'll be easier, man. We can just talk a lot less this time because there's so many more guys that can talk.
Yeah, we were talking for quite a while.
You were primarily the person that carried it. I actually went offline for like almost 2 hours or an hour and a half because I couldn't get internet. I was moving around, but anyway,
I really appreciated you.
You carried that thing, man. Like I still can't believe that. Like it's one thing to talk about, it's another thing to do it. And when you told me like, okay, you've done this with Hex and stuff, and you've been on these different streams that go 24 hours, it sounds like you can do it, but like it's a long ass time to be talking, man.
Oh, definitely.
It's just crazy amount of time. Like, I'm exhausted right now. It's been 3 hours. Do you think you can do the whole 24 looking at crypto?
No, I probably wouldn't do the whole 24, but
wow, drugs. Wow.
I mean, I'll go take a
What about $100 sell?
on.
$100 sell. We're getting you on for 24.
Well, I don't think he okay. So once you guys
you're not going to be working at $100 sell. You're not going to be working at $100 sell, so you're not going to sleep in.
Already capitulated. Already capitulated.
Because you're going to have to basically do another one at. I think you guys are going to basically have to do a lot of live streams, like much faster than.
Oh man, I'll commit to doing a 24-hour stream every $5-10. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like these are huge.
What if you did something? All right, this is a crazy.
It's hilarious
idea.
To have to do 24-hour streams in a week span. Cell just moons, and we have to do like 2 streams in a week.
How about this idea here too? Okay, so you have the commitment at $10, right? But let's just say it hits like. Let's say it's $100 later this year, and you have the 7-day $100 sell stream.
Dude, man, I'll tell you this right now. If Cell hits $100 this year, I'll do a 7-day stream.
Wait,
wait.
Hold on. What?
We'll carry a 7. Okay, maybe not 7 days. I think that's.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's aggressive. That's aggressive. I'm tired.
What price point? Did you say?
If Cell can hit $100 this year, I will commit to a 72-hour stream. Not that I'll do the whole 72 hours. I'll probably have to take some naps, but I will get a stream going, like with you guys and with people in the community. We can cycle in and out from different countries. Maybe this idea won't sound good in a few days, but I'm just telling you, man. Like if Cell can hit $100, like it's just such a big deal for me personally in my life that I will commit to whatever. At that point, I will be partying like a 72-hour stream, just to whatever. Just for fun, like whatever. I mean, 24 hours is already crazy enough. We don't need to. Yeah, we can. Dude, let's just focus on 24 hours for now. I'm talking about funneling people in and out, like basically having like an open, almost like a clubhouse where they just have these open chats where you just have people coming in from different countries that wake up and they just jump into the party and just keep it going for 72 hours. Like we wouldn't be on the whole time, obviously, but. Yeah, somebody would be on stream for 72 hours.
I think we're drunk, you guys. Let's just go to sleep now.
Yeah, let's just focus
guys.
on 24.
So
all right, guys.
Where can people follow you? Look into crypto.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. It's Look Into Crypto.
Cool. And
is your site launching? Are you going to launch a site soon?
Yeah, I'm launching the website in May.
That's hilarious. The chats. Yeah, you just follow me on Twitter, 1 trillion cell at 1 trillion cell.
Perfect, man. You can find me at dollar cost crypto everywhere and $120 sell minimum end of year. Calling it right now.
You'll probably be right. You'll probably be right again. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on again. Thanks for hearing all my chatter. It's great. Great talk, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
See you guys
Later.